Come on. Okay, now we're live. Hey there, geeksters! It's Louis Le Vau, and I'm here with
You're
Rags.
doing the voice. You're doing the voice. You're doing the internet
I am
voice.
doing the voice. Shut the fuck up, Rags.
You're doing the internet
Anyways,
voice.
that's Rags. Welcome, Rags. Welcome, Appabend, and welcome, Undoomed.
You're doing the Jet voice.
Thank you.
So what you're doing. You're doing the Jet voice.
You're doing the what voice?
You're doing the Jet voice.
The Wii voice.
The Jet.
They used
You're doing the Jet voice.
No, this
Sounds
is
just
not-
like
that
Jed
voice.
Whittaker.
Oh,
Jed.
Jed Whittaker? I don't listen to that. That stupid faggot. Who cares? That guy's a fucking no name. Unlike yours.
That's the
truly.
voice he does to make fun of people poorly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's almost exactly. I thought you were doing an impression of Jed Whittaker.
No, I know. I don't listen to his shit. This is the voice that I was taught when I was getting a degree in communications on how to do any kind of primetime radio.
I'm a gamer and I hate women and minorities.
That's
Also,
right.
I had sexual relations with your mother. Not really. Ooh, vagina.
We need more whites and we need less women. Hail victory. By the way, did you know that
We should
Hail
do
Victory?
local, commercials.
Yeah. Did you know that Hail Victory is actually English for Seg Heil? I didn't know that.
What?
Yeah, Hail Victory. Yeah,
I
what
didn't know that.
it was.
Anyways, I'm gonna pour out a nice cold one. This stream is brought to you by Labatt
Franz,
Blue.
Pour me a big stein of Sieg Heil.
Labatt Blue. Hail Victory. Labatt Blue. Don't sue me, please.
Oh, Heinrich, you always know how much frost I like on the top.
It's in a frosted glass as well. Okay, so we got mostly a lot of shit.
So now that we've gotten rid of the Watchers, what's up?
Not much. Not a lot of real news, just a lot of bullshit that we can go through.
How's bullshit news different from fake news?
Oh, well, this is just mainly news that isn't important.
It's intense. I think it's intent.
I had to scramble to get it together because
It's the
I was
spirit of the
unprepared.
news.
All right.
Okay, actually, I didn't tweet this out. Actually, I should probably do that. I should probably take some time.
I didn't either. Don't feel bad.
Hell, that's fine. It's not your channel.
Yeah, as the channel owner, you should probably tweet it out.
Yep.
You need a social media manager.
Oh, yeah.
I'm too small for that.
Preferably someone who's studied gender studies, yeah.
Yes. Well, that's going to be the only job they're going to be able to get. So, beggars can't be choosers.
I wonder. There's not a lot of positions to be filled for YouTube personality, social media management.
I meant to tweet out the stream. I tweeted out that link you sent me.
Oh, they could ingest that too.
Okay, now we should be good.
Oh,
God damn it. Okay. One of the professional ways that I do this is I have dead air as I stream. That's how you know it's professional. Have an extended period of dead air as you fuck up.
We can move straight into it.
Yeah. All right. So let me share my screen and where should we start with? Let's just start with this article on the Grammys because it's incredibly relevant, but also really simplistic.
The grannies.
The Grammys.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah. All right, we're good.
Grammy Awards TV audience plunges.
Yeah.
Political.
So
Oof.
I didn't watch the full thing, but what this is the music awards basically, and
yeah.
it was nothing more than pure like postmodern arts and like whoa.
She's sitting on the strong white hand of her oppressor.
Yes.
It's symbolic because of their ownership over her in a post-colonialist patriarchal societal structure.
Let's just go through this article really quickly because it actually it mentions some things. So, the United States television audience for Sunday's Grammy Awards on CBS Corporation fell by more than 6 million viewers. CBS said that on Monday. after a show criticized for political jibs.
No, it's
Oh,
jibes. Jibes.
And wins for Bruno Mars at the expense of innovator rapper Kendrick Lamar.
I know who Bruno Mars is. I don't know who Kendrick Lamar is. Kendrick Lamar, whoever he is. I don't know who
I know who he is.
KL is.
Citing Nielsen data, CBS said 19 million Americans tuned in for a 3.5-hour broadcast. Lowest audience for the Grammy Awards was in 2006, which drew an audience of 17 million. So
we're getting there.
This is the lowest in a decade.
Well, I never watched it. I don't really care about the music scene, but I don't
either. But the point is that one of the reasons why, this to me is one of the most unsurprising things in the world is because that this has been the case for numerous.
Oh yeah, absolutely. People use things like movies and music as a form of escapism from the real world, and for two reasons. One, they don't want that mixed within that escapism that they have, and two, because they don't want to learn how much of a shitbag their favorite artist is.
Yeah.
Like
most people want to experience art just as the art. They want to listen to an Eminem album and like the music. They want to watch a Bruce Willis movie and like the action or like the actor. They don't want to learn the personal politics of the person that entertains them. Because unless that person is someone like Stephen Colbert, where their art is political, it's outside of that narrow territory. No one gives a shit what some barely functional human being concerns themselves with when it comes to art. Because when it comes to any of these people, none of them actually have very in-depth arguments or opinions on politics.
Well,
this is very much basic bitch politics.
They want to be able to look at art, and they want to be able to see their artists in that art, and try to keep that gap there, that ambiguity of what they believe and how they are as people. I mean, nobody. I imagine that the number is pretty low of people who, the more they learn about Tom Cruise and his personal life, really just adore his movies. Right. They want to keep that over there, and they just want to enjoy the acting in a movie. And if you go to the Grammys, it's gonna give you a lot more than you want from these people. And
the personal life of Tom Cruise certainly hasn't helped his career. So it would be good to not have to know too much about these people. That would be good for their career.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things, the reason why I mentioned this is because a whole chunk of the entire show, which I saw snippets of, was just political digs at the president, which, stop me if that surprises you, that an entire award show was
spent me at all. No,
digging at the president. And what's funny is that
kind of old.
Hillary Clinton showed up on this to do like a scripted segment where she just read from that book that came out, Fire and Fury, and just all she did was read a segment about Donald Trump eating McDonald's. That was what she read.
All right. Oh gosh. Well, you got him. Nailed it.
Yeah. What was the point of that?
Nothing. Just to virtue signal. Just to say.
It's all preaching to the choir. They're just up there with people who. I mean, they're not convincing anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just talking to people who already think that. They're just scoring points within their own insular crowds. Yep. I mean, people aren't like, hey, I like this person's politics. I'm totally going to go watch their movie that I had otherwise absolutely zero interest in. I doubt that's the case for most people.
No.
This also just happened, and I'll click off this because it's playing fucking audio. Hillary Clinton recorded at some point, I'm not sure when this came out, but she recorded a video, like someone stuck a phone in her face, or she was doing a selfie, and she was just saying a lot of shit, and she did appear inebriated. She did appear inebriated when she did this video.
Yeah.
Because someone said to her, like, she was thanking people for campaigning for her, and then someone said to her, say thanks to all the activist bitches. And then that's what she repeated to the camera. She said, And let me just say, this is directed to the activist bitches supporting bitches. So let's go. Like, that is literally verbatim what she said.
I've seen photos of this floating around Twitter with her, and then juxtaposed with the Emperor from episode 1.
Yeah,
Star
Emperor
Wars.
Palpatine. Yeah, I was about to
She's
ask
got
who
the
that
same
guy
clothes.
was in that video there.
Yeah, she either has dementia, and I'm not joking, or she was inebriated when she did this.
But what else are you gonna do except just drink at this point?
Yeah, really. I don't know what to say about this other than like.
Can you play it, or we can't hear
No,
the
I
audio?
don't have OBS. I'd have to unplug my headset for you guys to hear it.
Okay.
But I'll just link.
Send me the link. I'll play it.
Go ahead. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. This should have it on there. But what I was going to say about this.
There it is.
Yeah, I did.
I also do love the bitches.
But the thing is that one of the things they gave Trump endless shit for was his vulgarity, and she's just vulgar.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, get ready, guys. Get ready.
Dead air.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening.
I
What a
hear
letdown.
nothing. Oh, sorry.
To be fair, that is the best Hillary Clinton.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to say thanks. Thanks for your feminism, for your activism, and all I can hope is you keep up the really important good work.
Can you say the name of the activist bitches supporting bitches?
And let me just say, this is directed to the activist bitches supporting bitches. So let's go.
I honestly, I think this is getting blown out of proportion. I think she was saying it in a jovial manner because someone talking to her wanted to have her say that. I don't think they mean. I don't think she was meaning activist bitches supporting bitches in a derogatory way.
I don't think she was either. But the fact is
but it is funny.
It's funny.
That is funny.
Obviously,
It's not presidential. We can't elect them.
She didn't seem sober. That was my point. If you watch the video, she doesn't seem sober.
No.
All right.
So yeah, I just thought it was funny.
well, you certainly can't fault someone for having a sense of humor. So fuck it.
Yeah, that's how she copes,
that's the thing. That's the thing is that I mean, if you're going to hold people to a standard where vulgarity and jokes are inappropriate, then if you do the same thing in which you are referring directly to women and activists as bitches supporting bitches, then and you do so publicly,
it is the least robotic thing that she's done in a long time. And if Trump did it, he would get raked over the coals for it.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think she looked very robotic when she was like passing out and had to get. I mean, I guess maybe it's like the battery died thing. Like maybe her batteries died. I guess that's probably.
I love that YouTube chat about how I'm rushing to Hillary Clinton's defense now. I was like, good job.
I like the
YouTube
hot
chat.
sauce. You ever see the interview on like a black radio station? She talks about carrying around hot sauce.
So pandering.
Carrying around hot sauce?
Oh God, it was so funny.
She didn't just talk about it. She had it. She had it.
Yeah, I know. She took it out.
Yeah.
She's not like
hey, fellow black folks.
She's not
for me.
Weak sauce Cholula carrier, is she? She's got good stuff with her.
No,
right?
she had some just basic bitch Frank's Red Hot, if I remember right.
Frank's Red Hot. Yeah. I can't even remember what that tastes like.
Vinegar.
That sounds awful. Maybe it has some sort of medicinal property.
I'd like to thank Jeremy.
Keeps her on her feet.
Jeremy from Unsleeved Media has joined the call, so I'd like to thank him for joining.
Well, you told me you were paying me. Is that not still happening?
Good luck.
We're splitting the super chats up 5 ways.
That's going one way, baby.
I don't mind a 5-way split.
All right, moving on. So I wanted to mention this article because I can't speak for everyone here, but I grew up under George W. Bush. I was very young when Bill Clinton was president, and most of my teenage years in that were under Bush. So I have a very keen recollection of George W. Bush when he was president.
Yeah, I think he was treated very fairly by everybody.
Do you mean that sarcastically?
No, yes, I absolutely mean that sarcastically.
Yeah. Well, I could say that looking back at his presidency, I do think that it was pretty disastrous.
Yeah.
there wasn't really one strong element to it. I don't think economically it was a disaster. It ended in a disaster. It ended in the betrayal of conservatives' supposed principles, where they bailed out numerous industries.
Oh yeah, he was no real. He was
I don't think
right
I can ever kind of get over that mental picture of, like, not to get too real, but like the where he's like sitting and reading a children's book and like the country's under attack and just like keeps reading, like
upside down, right?
No,
Yeah.
that was, I don't know if it was upside down.
Well,
but,
when it was when he learned about the 9/11 attacks while he was reading a children's book to
In a
a
kindergarten
classroom of
class.
children. Yeah.
I feel like there was a very real moment for him where he's like, you know what, if I just stay in here and read it a little bit longer, I'm not gonna have to deal with this shit. And like I was kind of like,
What do you do when someone tells you that? I mean, shit.
Yeah.
you throw the book at the nearest kid and you get to work.
Throw the book at the first brown kid you see.
Yeah.
Fuck, shit, this is your fault. I know it.
Yeah. The 9/11 9/11 was one of the real examples of Bush falling down on his face, because after 9/11 he went from I think 60% in approvals to 90% in approvals, and by the end he was right around, I think, 27% approval. That was where he was by the end, because he pissed it all away.
Right.
He alienated everybody in his policies. He went after a path to citizenship. He pushed hard for that. So the people that are more nativistic and don't want more immigration hated him for that. He expanded surveillance. He got in trouble for, well, not really in trouble, but he got exposed for having warrantless wiretapping. I mean, he created the Department of Homeland Security as a sort of means to fix the fact that the so-called intelligence community and the federal agencies weren't communicating between one another, and that's one of the reasons that is given for how 9/11 occurred, and it was a disaster. It still is a disaster.
They shut down online poker too, and ignored a great opportunity to create tax revenue,
Right.
only to then like let the current scene now have this fantasy football DraftKings cancer running wild. That's way worse than that ever was.
Yeah, they ignored the
It's
drug
strange.
war.
Like
They-
it's almost
yeah.
February of 2018, and we're like, hey, remember how bad Bush was, guys? Like, okay.
Yeah, well, the thing is that the reason why I mention this is not just to bring up Trump, but it's the fact that they go through in this SNL segment with Will Ferrell, who I like as George W. Bush. And there are redeeming factors of George W. Bush, but my point is that they bring up George W. Bush and they go on to, as they show here, to shit on Trump. But all of the categories in which they shit on George W. Bush, you can't actually say that about Trump. It's inaccurate to say that Trump's an economic disaster, Trump's betraying his promises, all the rest. Like the things that they mock George W. Bush for, it's not true about Trump.
Well, they
Right.
made fun of
But
Bush. for being
they're
a-
both Republicans, though. They're the exact same thing.
yeah, right to them.
There's no variation or spectrum on that. They're all Nazis.
The thing I remember most about Bush was him being mocked for being a simpleton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was his affectations, his Bushisms, as they called it.
Yeah, he wasn't very good with words, that's for sure.
no.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, can't get fooled again.
Yeah, he had a lot of Bush moments like that.
Come
I
on,
do-
W.
I do think that he had a certain amount of redeeming charm to him. I think that that's what saved him in the second term, because they put him up against the most boring Democrat they could find.
Well, he was at
And-
war. Presidents at war never lose the election.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if that would be enough because by that time the Iraq War especially was deeply unpopular. So
yeah, but
I don't.
people still don't. I don't think there's a time in history where a president lost their seat during a war.
Maybe not.
FDR never lost his seat
Ah,
because he got elected more than once.
Yeah. But I just thought I would mention.
Also, he
this.
was crippled.
polio.
I just thought I would bring this up because at the same time that this is happening, I wish I had a follow-up article to show you. They've been, these same people, like the establishment left, the bourgeois left, as I would label them, they've been praising George W. Bush and wishing for him to come back.
I know, right? It's weird.
That's so weird.
And it's because I think I understand why. It's because in large part Bush is, and I'm going to do this when I actually get around to doing it. My video talking about the right wing and the division in it and my problems with the right wing is that the big split that there is in American conservatives is between nationalists versus internationalists. That appears to be the very big split between conservatives, where the internationalists want influxes of immigrants, want globalization, want as much trade as possible, don't really care about domestic policy outside of the defense contractor that gives kickbacks to me. They need more money, and that's about it. I mean, it stops pretty much there.
Superpower Time in the chat said they're doing the same thing, just like they praise the Pope now that it's a cuck Pope. Like, that's right. It's absolutely right. Francis I, he's great. He's the best Pope ever, and he's fucking cucking for Islam and
I've seen quite a few people praise the Pope. None of them are Catholic.
I hate it. Oh yeah, my parents are hardcore Catholics, and they are not pleased at all with this Pope we got.
My mother's pretty strongly Catholic, and she has mixed opinions about him.
Yeah. It's like, but man, he's so cool and hip and progressive, and he's like, you should have babies with all the Muslim migrants that come to your country.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, and the security around the Vatican's never been higher.
Oh, okay. I missed that part of Jesus' sermon, I guess.
Well, what did he say on that subject?
Oh, you should look up some of the Pope stuff. He said stuff like, he said things like freedom of speech doesn't trump your ability to like insult religions.
Yes. That was like right after he got named Pope.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. Jesus. I think that happened after Charlie Hebdo.
Yeah,
didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. He was like out there saying, while it's it's important that we can say, expression, He pretty much basically said freedom of speech, except if you're criticizing religion, almost. Yeah. Then he said things about how we should welcome in the migrants with open arms, and then he went further enough to say that you should just have kids with them. We should, breed with the migrants when they come in, like, what? Who are you? Yeah. I was like, I was Catholic once, and I was like, I'm like, damn.
I was Catholic once.
I was like, I hopped off that ship at the right time, because damn. Like, my parents don't like this. Yeah, my parents don't like this guy, and they're hardcore Catholics, and they're like,
Religion is actually going to be one of the things I talk about in that video, because one of the things that conservatives like to talk about is they're trying to basically renew the Christian identitarianism that was out of the 70s and in the 80s with the moral majority. It was a Christian identitarianism, and it basically tried to unite all the sects of Christianity as just identifying as Christian, and it's not working. That's going to be the spoiler for when I talk about religion in that conservatives video, is that they want, you'll hear the idea of the United States is a Christian nation. And there's two ways of saying that. There's the slippery Ben Shapiro way, where it's like, well, do you agree that the founders were Christian and that the underlying philosophy came from Christianity and Western tradition, blah, 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 blah.
Like, I'm not going to deny there was that heavy influence there.
Right, because you'd be stupid to not to.
But that doesn't mean, it's like the only time really religion's brought up is the separation between it and government's ability to favor one or the other. And
but the other side of it is the just Christian identitarian, meaning it's a Christian majority nation now, and that's why it's Christian. And it's beautiful because it's like, count your blessings for now, buddy, because the numbers are going in one direction. Except for one religion, Islam, in the United States. That's the only religion outside of, I think, a couple sects of Christianity that are actually growing.
And in the U.S., though, they're luckily such a tiny minority that let's hope it stays that way.
Oh yeah, believe me.
Said it. There, I said it.
So I'm going to talk about that because one of the things that the conservatives need to understand is that there's a number of fronts where they're losing, and I'm going to say, hey, you're losing. And what the general response is to saying you're losing is, fuck you, leftists, no, we're not. And it's like, okay, well, you are demonstrably losing.
Yeah.
Fuck you, leftists. It's like, okay.
Like you need to sort out your long-term plans here. You need to get your
really
message sorted out.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things I'm going to be talking about because culturally, the right is still getting fucked really hard, and they are clinging to certain things that they shouldn't be, and that's going to be the gist of that video. But let's get to this New York Times op-ed article.
When's that coming out?
I can't tell you because I haven't finished the script, so it could be this month, it could be next month.
Okay.
Now we must read about Ta-Nehisi Coates.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember who Ta-Nehisi Coates is, but I think he's a writer, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was the writer of Black Panther, as far as I know, wasn't it?
Oh, they were a pleasant bunch.
Okay, I guess we could read this. It's not too long. In the study of German history, there is a notion of Swanderweg, or Sonderweg, literally the special path down which the German people are fated to wander. In different eras, and depending on who employed it, the term could imply different things. It began as a positive myth during the imperial period of some... okay, let's skip this shit.
The Germans lost.
Okay, here we go. A similar unifying theory has taken hold in America. Its roots lie in the national triple sin of slavery, land theft, and genocide. In this view, the conditions at the core of the country's founding don't just reverberate through the ages, they determine the present. And that's actually very true if you understand social justice reasoning. That's where they determine a lot of this from. No matter what we might hope, that original sin, white supremacy, explains everything.
Pay up, Whitey.
In all American Sonderweg.
Interesting that they use that term, original sin.
Oh, I think that's very true. I do think it is because it's something that cannot be washed away.
You are broken, but I have the cure.
Exactly. No one today has done more to push this theory in the mainstream than the 42-year-old author Ta-Nehisi Coates. Anyone interested in the durability of racism in American life is probably still discussing his breakout 2015 memoir, Between the World and Me. I'm sure we've all read that. A moving and disparaging letter to his then 15-year-old son that warned, "You have been cast into a race in which the wind is always at your face and the hounds are always at your heels."
Oh, shit.
The plunder of black life was drilled into this country in its infancy and reinforced across its history, so that plunder has become an heirloom, an intelligence, a sentence, a default setting to which, likely to the end of our days, we must invariably return.
That's depressing.
Yes,
listen here, son. You're fucked, and you're going to get more fucked in the future. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Because it is like a quasi-religious sentiment in that there is no means by which for you to actually avoid hell in this case.
Oh yeah, it has an almost spiritual, cyclical
Yes.
aspect to it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Fucked up. Plus, it must have been really awkward when Obama was president, and then it happened again.
Well, that didn't matter. He's the president of the white supremacy, and he's the coon in chief.
Sold out.
He wasn't black.
Sold out. He may look black.
He had that white half.
That's true. That's true.
The book won Mr. Coates millions of readers and fans, many of whom are white.
Mhm.
I just want to zoom in really quickly on
to where it has the words white and then right below it's a W2.
God damn it. All right, well that didn't work because I lost it anyways. Yeah, I just want to say that one of the people that promulgate this theory of America's racist and will always be, they're white. They're bourgeois white leftists. They push this. There's even professors at universities that teach this, and they are bourgeois white leftists.
I don't know. I don't think I could ever be convinced to just have that kind of disdain and hatred for myself based on something I can't change. It's like, I couldn't do it. You couldn't convince me. I don't think you could sway me to just be that hateful towards myself or to other people, to just, quite frankly, to be a racist. I don't think you could convince me to be one.
I guess it depends how far down the ideological hole you go.
Yeah, I guess it's a gradual process.
Oh, absolutely. I think so. I don't think people just wake up believing this shit.
No. It takes years.
This week we published... let me just skip that. Okay, yeah, we'll read this. Go ahead.
In my own young black life, I've done a part to gentrify a half dozen mixed neighborhoods. What? Ranging from Spanish Harlem to Fort Greene to the 9th arrondissement of Paris. Many of my well-educated black, Latino, Asian, and Arab friends have done the same. Most of us harbored conflicted feelings about the processes we were engaged in, but few of us considered advancing white supremacy to be one of them. Mr. Coates, who formerly lived in Harlem, briefly... Why'd you leave? Are you saying you don't like black people? That's kind of weird. Briefly catches himself in the essay, admitting, and I know even in my anger, even as I write this, that I am no better. Yet in the very next sentence, he abandons any pretense of class-based analysis. White people are, in some profound way, trapped. He doubles down. It took generations to make them white, and it will take more to unmake them.
See, again, white is not actually a skin pigmentation in that sentiment. It's actually an ideology.
Man.
Yeah,
because you aren't born white.
If they could only, explain it, what the fuck is it?
It's basically meritocracy. That's the shorthand for what he means by whiteness. Meritocracy.
That's why Obama isn't
that's what
the
it
right
comes
white
across
person.
as, but it can't be like that in his head.
It might be, dude.
Maybe he attaches whiteness to, meritocracy. Maybe that's what he does. Maybe that's why Obama's not a real black person, or these famous guys aren't real black people because they don't know what it's like, or they're not part of the struggle, or they've succeeded. They've worked within the system. That makes them accomplices to the oppression, to the man. You see.
I just don't see what the alternative to meritocracy is. What you want people who are fuck ups to do shit?
Mediocrity.
It's diversity quotas, man. And guess what? All these people who want that, they want to benefit from that. Absolutely. And the ones who don't, they're ideologically driven to do it. I mean, look at all those guys over at the BBC just now who took a pay cut in the name of destroying the wage gap and social justice. I mean, they can be ideologically. That's why people say it has this religious aspect to it. It takes this faith and this self-hatred and that original sinness that is your whiteness, that is your straightness, your maleness.
Yeah.
And
these people act as a priestly class. Ta-Nehisi Coates is a priest.
I mean, it makes people act directly against their interest, at least in some way. So
yeah,
that's how you.
And they tithe. They tithe to the so-called lesser races.
Yeah, but I just don't see how society would be run with mediocrity.
It won't. It'll be completely dysfunctional. But to them, it'll be
start out. You can start it. You could set it on the way, but things will sort themselves out eventually. We don't call it the USSR anymore.
Yeah, it sounds closer to communism, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is. It's racial communism, if you can believe.
You know what's funny? I went to a play with my wife this weekend, and we saw Animal Farm.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was really interesting seeing like people, like there was not like real costumes, so to speak. They were like kind of just all wearing this like white uniform, and then they would like hold the head of whatever their animal was.
It's a postmodernist play.
Yeah, it was a little kind of gay, but like at the same time, it was like, how is someone supposed to? I don't know. Would have been more gay, like an adult.
All right, but it was a little gay. The animals were a little gay.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
We need straighter animals.
Yeah, I mean, well, they were definitely like hetero animals, but watching people dance around and like make animal sounds was a little uncomfortable. But the play itself was a nice reminder of good old communism.
Some people like it when their partners make animal noises. So
yeah, I'm not shaming it.
For some people, it just depends on the animal. They're not against it. They're not for it. It's like details. I need details.
I feel like maybe I would You know what? I'm probably being a little close-minded. I should probably,
Maybe
the
yes.
animals that I heard weren't really erotic to me.
And maybe that's the individual and not the animal as a whole. Try not to paint all pigs. as being
Okay. Hey, I appreciate you
sloppy,
holding me in
disgusting.
check.
Yeah, I'm just trying to bring you up, let you know to check your privilege,
All right,
check your
I'm
human
checking it.
privilege.
Yeah, I walked past the check. I'm going back to check it at the door.
I checked it. I liked it. I'm keeping it.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I don't trust who's behind the counter. I'm keeping it.
I think we'll end this. He has a part in this where he talks about reparations. I believe that's something that Coates wrote in 2014. So I actually used to be more sympathetic towards that view back probably closer to like 2011, 2010.
But
yeah, you feel bad with people who have mental illness, like I'm sympathetic to people who are delusional enough to believe that that's a reason.
Right. And the thing is the reason why reparations, for anyone listening to this that might stumble across it and say, I think reparations is a good idea, what you are doing is creating a federal policy which is untenable. It cannot actually be done, because what you'd have to do first is prove that the money is going to go to the people that deserved it, who had supposed ancestors that were enslaved.
Yeah, and this is America, so the 10% of the money that eventually makes its way to where it's supposed to go, you have to make sure it goes to where it's supposed to go.
Correct. And the thing is that from this, you would be taxing Asians, Latinos, and whites for crimes that they did not commit.
And then there's the logistical nightmare of how do you find, are they white enough? Are they black enough? Are they
exactly?
I mean, where do you draw the line? It's like, does my Magyar blood in me? I mean, do I get a little kickback from that?
What happens if you're half white, half black? What do you do?
I mean, you pay yourself basically.
I guess
it gets, you pay into the system, and then you put $5 into the system, and then you get spat out like 86 cents.
The point being that with the population that existed once upon a time where slavery existed, it was in the millions compared to now where it is in the hundreds of millions. It is impossible for this to actually be something that is achievable. So reparations is impossible. And anyone that says otherwise is either deluded or is a communist.
Basically,
and in case you can dismiss them.
Like, I want you to, for 1 second, I want you to stop and try to figure together in your head how it would be in any way feasible or even possible to have a working system where you took from people who didn't do something to give it to other people who didn't have anything done to them.
Yes.
Based on characteristics that are at best ambiguous.
Yes. It would be impossible for it to actually see the light of day. And it's getting
that past the Supreme Court. Good luck.
Yeah, I don't think it would be. Well, I don't know. It could be technically constitutional because it could be paid out from a fund that the federal government sets up. But the issue is that for the people that would file to actually claim the money, they would have to prove, unless it would just went out to black people, unless it's just like a rebate for black people specifically.
Oh my God!
Can I get my rebate for the slavery?
Do you remember that? You remember that shit? Was that under Bush? Or they did?
Yeah, it was under Bush.
Back to Bush. Fucking stupid. It was like buying PR.
Yeah, it really was.
You get a $200 check in the mail, everybody.
And the thing is, too, is like, what if I apply and they say no, and I tell them, why are you discriminating against me based on my race?
Well, you could tell them you're transracial.
I don't know if that would hold up necessarily. The government's race realist, no matter what they say. They when you check that box, they take it seriously. You can't argue with them in that case. Deciding. I guess we could go to the bullshit stories.
It is strange though. It's like, okay, before you walk out of the store with this gun, we have to know: are you a black man? It's like, well, that's a weird thing. That's kind of a weird thing to ask. All right, weirdo. Okay.
So at the beginning of the month, and I got another story here from the day before, a whole bunch of male journalists either lost their jobs or went to jail or were sentenced. It was about 5 days in a row, I believe, at the beginning of this month, where every single day for about a week, there was either a male feminist, a gaming journo, or someone basically within that framework. You know, Anti-Gamergate, Vice journo, or
IGN.
Post male feminist.
Yeah, IGN's senior editor or whatever. Got
IGN, that was another one. IGN's
yeah.
no, he was the editor in chief of IGN.
It's a beautiful thing to behold.
They couldn't stop getting convicted, let go, and everything in between for sexual harassment, and what was it? This domestic abuse towards a loved one, a female.
Imagine the real shame is being abused by that guy.
Yeah.
And not just fucking slamming his head into a countertop.
Yeah.
Just take his glasses away.
I don't know. If you take enough soy, there might be some kind of
Huffington Post writer. Well, fuck there. There you go.
Hulk-like rage from taking enough soy.
It is these big white hulking monsters.
All right, I don't know if there's really much. Anyone want to add anything to this? Because I'm just laughing at it.
No, this is just a continuation of a trend that we've seen happening ever since the Gamergate heyday.
This is after Sargon's video, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's like, by the way, that's why I can see why he waited so long to do it. Because every time you want to start a video, by the time you're done, you've got more names to add to the list.
You have no idea how long that video was in the planning for. Him and I were talking about that video for months.
I believe it. I believe it. It probably went back further. I bet, and then he just brought it up.
Oh man!
Like, but every time I start working on it, the list gets bigger.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was.
People won't stop assaulting women.
I know it's probably a little evil, but every time I just felt like it was a little mini win. Like if I was having a down day, it's like,
well, it is.
I just need a little
so all those people who called me a misogynist, they ended up raping girls or assaulting them sexually or harassing them. So that's that's my day. Right
the whole notion, like the whole thing around Gamergate was that it's these fucking disgusting gamer guys that are out there joining a group to fucking push women out of the industry, and it's like, while we're trying to push women out of the industry, at least we're not trying to rape them out of the industry.
Yeah. They should just assault them sexually like we do. Like real allies.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's the win, and it's also a win every single time I mention it because of all the shit I got for that stream that I did with V and Sargon and a few other people, Uzulu, where we mocked Russian Deadpool for shooting his girlfriend. We got so much shit for that.
Yeah,
and I got shit. I got called out because I said that this is a thing, and I'm right. So
like, this is a news thing that happened, and we're pointing out the irony of it. Like, the fact that someone who is devoted to, a pro-feminist agenda murdering a woman is there is irony in there that you can identify, you could point at. It's basically palpable and you can hold it in your hand.
Yes, you're a so-called activist for women's rights, and you are a serial abuser along with all your allies. Whereas
the irony is palpable enough to beat someone over the head with it.
Yeah, you can kill somebody with it.
It should be obvious. It should be obvious for anybody. But we got a lot of shit for that.
You're saying feminists murder women. It's like, yeah, that's totally what we're saying.
The Mel wants to. The Mel was.
Like, I'm just saying,
be a trend.
If you write for Vice or Huffington Post, I don't want you alone with my kid. That's all I'm saying.
Or IGN or a whole litany of other places.
I'm saying you're gonna. I'm saying I'm not gonna risk my kid.
Well, that's what happens when basically what we're seeing, I think, is the apex of 10 years ago when all these slime balls were able to manipulate their ways into positions of power. That's how we lost Marvel. That's how we lost all the good games journalism. That's how we lost a lot of people, specifically like at Wizards of the Coast. These companies weren't totally, male feminist beta cuck factories, but it began slow, and they bring in more and more of their companions, and before you know it, now they finally reached critical mass, and I'm hoping that it's going to go the other way around now, or at least we'll have a resetting of some of these companies.
I don't think so. I think that most of them are going down. I think that if you look at companies like Bioshock, like BioWare, that have had a few bad years. They're not learning. They're not learning, and they're going to go down. And it's just I can't wait until when. And I think that whether it's Vice, IGN, all of them, like it does. If your company is dominated by soy boy fucking allies and feminists and all the rest, your company it's just a ticking time bomb before you go under.
Here's the thing. I don't understand why the shareholders don't step in.
I have no idea. It must be because half of them are in California and they sympathize or something. I have no idea, dude. I've been screaming at the top of my lungs for a long time.
It's part of their tithe, you see, to the church.
Well, I think a lot of
the Church of Feminism.
I think a lot of the shareholders, they have stock and it's part of some mutual fund, and they're not really looking at
I
that
think so
particular
too.
stock. And then the thing about these soy boys and like these people are not good businessmen. I mean, whatever.
No, they're not.
And I see it. I work with some of these people, right? The people I work with would never achieve a position of power, but somehow out west they do. What? And they are going to end up probably driving these companies into the ground. It's shocking when you see just how thinly staffed a lot of these companies are. They seem big to us, but there was a story recently about not Gawker, but some other like online trash like HuffPo or something like that, something similar to that. There's like 10 employees, and they're not like that big. They're not as big a company as we think.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what that company was. They got kicked out of their offices because they were behind on their rent.
Oh, yeah. Was it Salon?
Yeah. And they showed a picture. It was like very few people. And like I'm thinking like, holy crap, this is some huge company, and they're really not. They're funded by
they can all
someone
fit
else.
inside of a salon. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading that too. That was weird. It was in New York, right?
Yeah.
They had some fancy,
Yeah, it was like Fifth Avenue shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if we really want to get into this because this is kind of a longer article, but this article came out in August of last year, and this was basically like what would I call it? It's basically corporatists trying to make the appeal to progressives, like get on board with Walmart, get on board with GE. Like it's basically them saying like the corporations are against Trump, and that's actually true. The corporations, like there were 100. Let me find that article. There were 100 companies that came out and basically signed a unified statement telling the president to not limit immigration, and it's like, why do you think?
Yeah.
Well, obviously that would drive up the salaries.
Yeah. Why do you think Walmart cares about that? Right. I mean, they
want cheap labor.
They just, what's interesting? I think that's just political posturing, right? They don't really care.
They know they're going to get their big corporate. They know they're going to get their big tax cut from Trump anyway. He's not going to go back on that.
Yeah. What's good for Walmart's good for middle class America. Like they just rolled out raises for everyone in the company. Like this week.
It was a little bit earlier than that.
Was it?
Yeah. Well, they also laid off a bunch of people. So they, it's kind of like a mixed bag in terms of like the whole corporate tax cut or whatever. Yeah. But they don't really seem to care as much about the corporate tax rate as they do specifically about labor, because that's all this is. All this is labor.
They increased the starting wage to $11 an hour. That's when I worked there. When I was in college, I made $7.35, and then they had one-time cash bonus eligible part-time up to $1,000. That's pretty spicy. And that was as of January 11th.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many of them are migrants.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the thing is, when you really look at an economy, one of the things that drives costs, especially if you operate within, a country, it's labor. That is one of, if not the largest cost to what you do is labor. And it's unsurprising to me to see CEOs of Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, Google, AT&T, Wells Fargo. Like there's a letter and it has 400 CEOs of major companies that want the president not just to pass, they just say DACA in this, but it's also path to citizenship, which is 11 million. It's 11 million. And guess what? Guess what happens after you give amnesty?
Yeah, guess who they're voting for.
Well, no, not just that. What do you think that's going to be the last amnesty?
Of course not. No. We did it once. We did it again.
You
Exactly.
could trade DACA for the wall, though.
Well, it's the question of what actually happens. The point is that these companies want it because they do not want to stop the endless flow of immigrants into this country, legal or otherwise.
Look, where I live in just around Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and we just got an Amazon like a fulfillment center here, which has been fucking awesome because I get some of my shit same day and almost everything next day. But they are constantly desperate to hire. They pay $14.25, which to me is incredible wages for basically like piecework. What, like, you know, if you were old like factory, you know, it's just piecework, mindless work, but honorable work. And the generation of kids that are out there right now don't want to work, and their parents don't want to work. Yeah. So they need people with actual work ethics. It's like when I was 18, the idea to make $15 an hour to put shit in boxes.
Hell yeah.
I would have been there. I would have been like, how many hours can I work?
Yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, that communism, strangely enough, does not teach good work ethics. Go figure.
Yeah, I wonder what. I mean, I just don't understand it.
These guys are all communists now.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think though that the real issue here then is with the people. Then it's not necessarily just something that you can write off, because
people grow up in they're complacent. They're not taught good work ethic. They don't understand the value of what they grow up with. They get used to it. They expect it, and they're extremely comfortable within a very, very finite set of means. They don't have that ambition.
Yeah, they're fine having 5 roommates in a 2-bedroom apartment, and you know, or living at home. They're just, you know, I guess you got to starts with the parents. But
well, I don't know if that's necessarily true, because one of the issues still is with, especially with the millennial generation, is debt. So there is demand for work. It's just a matter of where, because
you know how many of them are just defaulting on their loans.
You can't do that with student debt.
That's true. You can't. You can whatchamacallit, defer it twice.
That's why I left college before I started, so I wouldn't. I left college and did something productive with my life. I pretended to be a dog on the internet.
You can't. You can default on them, but you have to file for bankruptcy. It looks like.
I don't like. I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think that, you know, $1 million a year legal immigration, which is just work permits, I'm not even counting the rest. I don't think that that's appropriate for where we're currently going for this.
I'm not advocating for any immigration. I'm just saying people are fucking lazy. That was my point. That's why
that's fair enough. But I just mean it depends to what degree, because based on because I investigate fraud for a living, and I know quite a few people, at least, I know 2 people that investigate welfare fraud. The people that are on welfare or are on workers' comp are predominantly in their 40s and 50s. So if I was investigating somebody every other day that was in their teens or early 20s, then maybe you could say necessarily that I could prove, at least anecdotally, that that's true, that people are lazy or defrauding the system or whatever. But I don't know if that's necessarily true, that, you know, the millennial generation can just be written off.
Yeah, I don't think that's the problem. It's the problem is that they're entitled, and they just stay at home and live with mom.
I can't imagine being like, I was out of the house at like 18.
Oh yeah,
right.
18th birthday. I just couldn't wait.
Like I could, like my parents, they'd cut me a deal. They said, hey, if you're going to stay here, you know, you got to pay us, and you got to do some stuff around the house, but you know, you got to pay to be here. You're renting a room, you know? And I was like, hell no. I was like, I appreciate it, Mama M&P, but man, I am out the door, and I'm glad I did. I could never imagine living with my parents. Love them to death, but oof, no. I got my own place, do my own stuff. have my
I
own
remember.
company.
Yeah, I remember working like I worked at an Office Max, like an office supply store, and a pizza joint, just to have like I traded 50 hours of my free time.
Flipping burgers, man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's
Just to
strange
get
because
out.
the job that I had here was the last job. We would have it was a revolving door with new people. New people would come in and they would be anywhere between 19, 28, that kind of age range. And even off the top of my head, I can't remember how many got to the interview process and never came back, or they got hired and started and were there for like a week or two, and even then they would just stop showing up, or they didn't come in, or they were sporadic. Sometimes they came in, sometimes they didn't. You didn't know if they had quit or not. I know it's purely anecdotally, but it's something I've noticed.
Right. What was your job?
I'd rather not say. It was in hospitality.
Right. Okay.
I'll say that.
But the point that I'm
I
raising
was
with
hospitable doggo. I was a service animal. I was an
My-
emotional support animal.
my point in raising this article is that I think that even if, Jeremy, you're correct that there is a problem with young workers and workers in general being lazy, that I don't think that this is something that we can just write off and basically substitute. Oh, we
he's
lost
gone.
Jeremy.
Oh, he didn't want to hear
either
any of your shit, Lewis.
Yeah,
Lewis.
either way, I don't think we should just write this off as an issue and just say, oh, well, we have a lazy workforce that are all millennials. We could just write them off and bring in illegal labor to take their place.
That's definitely not the answer. And it's not something that you're going to fix overnight. It's a societal thing. It's a social thing. And a lot of it is because we live in an extremely successful country.
Yes.
And we have all this stuff provided to us all the time. I have never been hungry in my life. I cannot conceive of the idea of not having food. Like, even now, I go to the supermarket to stock up on the foods, and it's just shit everywhere. Just a whole building full of food. You just pluck it. It's so cheap and readily available, and I can't imagine not having that all the time. And it builds up this complacency with it. You don't appreciate it. That crap your parents, if they were good, tried to tell you all the time. You should learn to appreciate what you have. A lot of kids don't. A lot of kids don't appreciate that.
Like I said, though, I think that eventually we, because the thing with immigration is that based on the statistics that I've seen, I don't think that we are becoming an increasingly coherent society. I think we are becoming increasingly dysfunctional as a society. I saw a study the other day that said, I think it was millennials. It was somewhere around 41% of millennials are approaching their 30s or even are in their 30s and are living alone. And they don't have a girlfriend. They don't have a spouse. They don't have anything. And it's just like, how do you have 41% of a generation that isn't living with anyone, getting laid, doing anything? It's not functional.
All my guests have to leave in the morning, but at least I'm financially viable and successful. So there you go.
I just think that we need to be taking this a little bit more seriously, and just sucking the dick of Wall Street to make them happy is not going to solve a very serious societal issue that is not getting better by the day.
And I don't think it's, and I think it is just that it is a societal issue. This is really I think this is just kind of the point where you have enough generations who have experienced success that they've kind of reached the point over time where their generations are just starting to get into that complacent attitude in general.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's not going to be, and if we didn't bring anybody in, it wouldn't be the death of things. They just have to suck it up. The reality of it would kick in, and they would adjust and correct for themselves. There might be some growing pains, sure, but when you gotta eat, eventually, it sucks. Yeah, you don't want to do it, but man, when you're fucking hungry and you gotta eat, you'll do stuff. You'll get off your ass and work.
Yeah. I also mentioned
Parents,
this because
kick your kids out of the house when they turn like 18. Like, kick them out of the house.
Yeah, I think the boomer generation is in part at fault for this because
I know you love them. That's why you have to kick them out of the fucking house.
I don't know what happened with boomers, but they, for whatever reason, the boomer generation just, unlike the generation before them that basically whipped them into shape and treated them as soon as they hit adulthood as an adult and said, okay, you're on your own, do your own shit. For whatever reason, with our parents, and I speak, as a millennial with boomer parents, like it just didn't happen. It just never happened. It was just like, well, if you ever need us, you could always depend on us. And that's great. Like, it's very nice of them to say. And I'm very much a productive person of society. But if I wanted to be a fucking loser, I could choose to do that.
See, what about some of our water tree said, let the population drop. We don't need that many people, to be honest. It's like, yeah. I mean, if a population slowly but surely declines, not because they're getting killed off in a war or genocide or something, but just because the kids don't have as many kids, things will adjust for that. As long as it doesn't happen so super sharply, But yeah, maybe that would be a nice little thing if it could support it. I don't know the numbers, but
I think I have to review that study that I saw, but the numbers that I saw were like South Korea levels of being alone and not good socially. Just I couldn't believe them. I read through them. I could not believe the fucking. It was from Pew, so it's good. Yeah. I couldn't fucking believe the numbers that I saw, but I have this article here, and it's going to be. I'm going to do.
Honestly, the problem is infants and small children for being such obnoxious bitches. That's why we don't want you. So if you were better and less of a pain in the ass, we would want to have you more. So this is really on you.
Maybe
so get your shit together. Get your shit together.
In Japan right now, they are seeing growth that is actually very good. And it has been for quite a while. For several quarters in Japan, the growth in their economy has been very good.
It's probably because their economy is, I'm guessing it's because it's finally caught up to just the way their country has ebbed and flowed. And it's been a healthy spot.
They had
it's corrected for itself.
Crisis, sometime in the 2000s. And it hit all of
Andrew M. Hold on. Andrew M is saying, how would that be good, Rags? Everyone just live alone until they die? When did I fucking say that? When did I say that everyone should live alone until they die? Fuck. Also, me talking to the fake small child, that was not in earnest. That was me doing a thing. Don't hurt yourself thinking about it. Stupid git.
Anyways, I want to touch on this and move on because we've been beating this to death. In Japan right now, they have what is being called a labor shortage. And regardless of that, their growth has not been mitigated. They've been growing consistently for quite a while. And the reason I point this out is to say that even with social dysfunction in Japan, even with a low population, even with a low birth rate, even with all the things they have wrong, they are growing faster, I think, than the United States overall in terms of their economy. Our economy is obviously way bigger, but it's that growth can occur even with very little immigration. And the consequences of this is that employers are now falling all over themselves to better the working conditions and pay of workers to attract new workers.
Well, yeah, you got to have people. You got to have work. You got to have workers.
Right. What's the downside?
Less of them. But they're all Asians. Really, I mean, you don't. I mean,
50% of them are girls, Asian girls.
Yeah, but 0% of them are Muslim migrants. So that's what's wrong. That's the bad thing.
Basically, the downside is that globally you're rated lesser than a country with mass immigration. That's pretty much the difference. Because even it says in here that the IMF had to even concede that they're doing well, but that they want them specifically to increase their labor supply in order for them to be rated higher.
You're doing great, but you know what you could really use?
Some virtue signaling. That's what you need.
Yeah. And despite Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who is a fucking corporatist, that he is not powerful enough and doesn't have enough political clout to open the borders like he would want to because he is a fucking corporatist. So yes, you don't need mass immigration to have a successful economy, and I don't believe that the United States is somehow exclusive in that effect, where if you limited immigration, that all of a sudden our economy would just implode. I don't believe that to be true. I believe that to be corporatist fucking bullshit and Democratic Party ballot box stuffing that they would rather have than avoid. So
Right. No, I mean, you need to have something that other countries want. You need to produce something. That's what makes a country successful.
It's better to let your own internal economy adjust for itself than to flood yourself with people who will not conform to the country.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If we lived in a world where the social constructivists were right and you could cross the border and become an American, maybe fine. Obviously, it still comes with problems. But the fact is that even with
people
the
do it. That's why you gotta like, are you good? Are you good? Are you good? You know, you gotta, if you're gonna let people in, it's gotta be on individual bases. You gotta judge what they got, where they're from, why they come in here. You know, you let people in and they're, anti-American. It's like, why are you letting them into America?
The other end of that is that with the example of DACA, the dreamers, supposedly the people, the 800,000 that they want to keep in the United States. There are statistics floating around that I've seen presented on more than one network, so I assume that they have some validity to them. I have not seen someone contradict them. That of the 800,000, 47% are on some kind of welfare. Now, of that other, 53%, that's great. They're productive, probably. But of the 40 whatever that aren't, kind of an issue. Kind of a problem.
Yeah, what's the national average? What's the national average? How many people are on welfare anyhow?
I couldn't tell you that. I'd have to look up those numbers.
I mean, I can't imagine that it's like more than 5% or something, right?
Like I said, I couldn't tell you.
I don't know either off the top of my head.
I
spend a shit ton on it though.
There's a lot of fucking people on workers' comp. I can tell you that, and there's a reason why in New York State we changed it from indefinite to 7 years. There's a reason why. Because there's a street in Buffalo, and I won't say which street it is, but I've been to it, I think, about 5 or 6 times. Of the street where there's probably a few dozen people, 30, 40 people on that street, there's about 6 that are on workers' comp, and they have been for over a decade. So,
they must have fucking lost their arms in a machinery accident or some shit.
No, dude, I've investigated people. If you're being investigated, it's because you're suspected of fraud. I've investigated people that have been on workers' comp for 4 years because they hit their thumb with a hammer, and they've got total disability because of that. It's doctors in the United States give out temporary total disability like it's fucking nothing.
Well,
like if you fucking stub your toe, you get total disability. It's ridiculous.
That is an important part of my life. If I lost my thumb, I wouldn't be able to jump in most games.
You didn't lose your thumb; you hit it with a hammer.
Okay, well, if my thumb was otherwise incapacitated.
Yeah, but that's what, like a couple weeks maybe. You severely injure your thumb because you're catching it in a saw.
Look, it was some solid German engineering in that hammer. Okay. It did me in.
All right, so let's. You sent me this reg, so let's read through and maybe Appabend, you can comment on this. It's actually
I've already commented on this one. This thing makes me laugh. I laughed out loud in the last part. I don't want to spoil. Just read to the last part.
Right.
Go read it. It is the best thing that I've ever read in my life. It gives me great
obviously
laugh.
the opening image is obviously a play on the no gods or kings, only man, which is aspect of the first BioShock. For those of you who don't know, it's loosely based off of kind of Atlas Shrugged in a way.
Yes.
A guy builds a city underwater, and all the people with talent go there, and they create this big city. They don't have any rules or regulations, really. And then they all go crazy because of it. It's long story short, that's what happens. And the main antagonist is Andrew Ryan, who Trump's character is here, who has a sign at the opening of the city that says "No gods or kings, only man." And that. Of course, Trump, no gods or kings, only me, because Trump is selfish. right? He's very CEO. He thinks about
because
himself.
If it was only men, it would actually be an easily defensible concept, especially for anyone that is a self-described individualist.
Oh yeah, I'm totally behind the no gods or kings, only man. I was like, I'm totally behind that. Yeah, absolutely. It's very empowering, in fact, and that's an aspect of his character that I enjoy. You know, he's not a total psychopath. You know, he's a man who has a set of principles and he has a code of ethics.
And it's also, especially if you've read Nietzsche, it's incredibly positive towards the will of man.
Yeah, it's like you're not some sinner in the hand of an angry god. You're not some product of fate. You know, you're not at the whim of some king or lord. Like you're all men.
You know, the feminists would have a problem with only man
and women. Only man and woman. Playing Bioshock Infinite in the age of Trump is unsettling, but not for the obvious reasons. So Anna Marie Cox wrote this, and she's apparently I went to her Twitter, and it's all Trump hate. Her page is basically Trump hate. Let me see. The host of Crooked Medias with friends like these on Bioshock Infinite. Shouldn't with friends with like these be in quotations? I don't know. My husband and I don't know. I don't write things. I don't know. I was curious. My husband and I bought our PS4 to escape 2017. I guess that went well, I can see.
When Queen Hillary loses.
Yeah. I had stopped playing video games around the time they lost their joysticks. A long time ago.
What? Isn't
like
this Polygon?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now Anna Marie Cog, this is the only thing that she's written, I believe. When I last checked.
I don't know about that. That name sounds familiar.
Well, yeah, she's a big name on social media, but this is the only thing that she's written on Polygon.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So, but I did check to see what else she had. That's how I find her Twitter. I expected to see other articles here by her that were just the same driveling garbage, but no, this is her only Polygon contribution. Though she fits right at home, which is what made you think. So aside from a brief infatuation with Guitar Hero on the Wii, she's filthy casual. I maintained my distance. My husband's sales pitch had something to do with the fact that we live in Minneapolis, and during the winter, gaming is a nice alternative to Frostbite because we can't pay a heating bill, I guess. But he sealed the deal with this: you can only watch so much CNN. Okay, that's fair enough. But then the game I chose to play was Bioshock Infinite, the worst in the Bioshock series. One of the most overrated games of all time. And if you like it, you're wrong. Oh, it doesn't say that. That's weird. That's weird. I thought it said that.
Continue, please.
In the first year of Donald Trump's America, that's no escape at all. Because there's no difference than with a floating city that treats the Irish immigrants and the blacks like second-class citizens. There's no difference between that in America. The big difference is easy to spot. So let's put that first. Bioshock Infinite is beautifully made, with details that will delight anyone willing to slow down enough to unpack them. And then the second 30 minutes start. Oh, that's me again. That's strange. I thought it said that. It's an aesthetic of just abandoned splendor. Dark and sumptuous, if also ruined by an unseen disturbance. The Trump aesthetic is not that. Trump's gaudy, unself-consciously tumescent displays of wealth would translate into video games as garish loot boxes and be empty besides. In the real world, Trump's America doesn't have the lonely romance of an abandoned carnival. It's the midway in full swing Technicolor tourist packed shoulder to shoulder, enveloped in the nauseating stench of cotton candy, overused grease, and sweat. I think they missed their Oxford comma there. Did they? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But basically, Bioshock Columbia is Trump's America. And this is a problem that I've seen before with SJW critiques of Bioshock Infinite. One of the good aspects, one of the few good things about Bioshock Infinite, because the rest of it's very bad, but one of the few good things about Bioshock Infinite is that it played up the potential to have a very black and white, good and evil. And then it decided to sort of subvert that by having the oppressed group that rose up in revolution become evil. They let the power go to their heads, and they ultimately succumbed to the thing that they hated, and they became their enemy that they had fought against. And so a lot of people, Anita Sarkeesian, for instance, in one of her videos, she specifically says, and I paraphrase her here, let's see, BioShock Infinite was basically a garbage story about how the oppressed are just as bad as their oppressors, which obviously wasn't the message. The message was that that can be the case if you lose sight of your principles and what you set out starting to fight for. You can lose sight of that. And this article is about seeing that parallel, their version of that parallel within Trump's America. And they can't play the game as a form of escapism because that's their view of the real world. A version of what they see in reality is not even juxtaposed, but it runs parallel to the idea of BioShock Infinite, because that's how insane these people are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Continue.
So yeah, Oprah 2020, absolutely. Let's see. Let me see. I was seduced by the emptiness of BioShock Infinite's Columbia and the evidence of someone having taken great care in constructing it. And I will admit, the world building in Infinite was very good. Shame we didn't have much time to enjoy it. The game's creators and its in-game founder both. For those of you who aren't aware, the in-game founder of the city of Columbia, where it takes place, is a floating city in the sky, and its founder is, I think it's Nathaniel Comstock, who is he's a religious zealot. He's like he's a new prophet. He's an evangelist type. He's an extremely conservative, white male preacher, God, country, that sort of thing. And it takes that to pretty much the extreme. He's their equivalent of Muhammad, basically. He's the prophet of God. But trying to find my way through this gorgeously wrought fantasy land, I learned two things very quickly that made it hard to forget the real world. One, white nationalists are the bad guys. And two, I am really terrible at playing video games. Which literally was exactly what I thought when I first read that.
Oh, God. How could you fucking... This game was so unbelievably easy that it was
shockingly easy. But one, the interesting thing about... It's admittedly on the nose a bit in how they portray. I think the faction is called the Founders. They're the loyalists of the city, the denizens and the police force, the military of the city. And are they white nationalists? Yeah, pretty much, yes. But they're just outright portrayed as bad and evil. There's no real moral ambiguity in their side. They're not. It's hard to relate to them, so it's easy to mow them down like the shooting gallery eventually the game devolves into. You don't feel for them. You don't have any... There's no humanization of them, you know? It's like how like a Nazi in a World War II game is treated. There's no attempt to humanize them, and so it's easy to just mow them down. They're basically like Star Wars stormtroopers. They're these anonymous, faceless enemies that exist only to be shot.
Oh,
I know, yeah. But I think that there was a big loss, I think, in the story, but because they didn't do that. They were clearly the bad guys. There was no redeeming qualities to them. They don't do anything good. They're a bunch of racists and xenophobes, and it's pushed so far to an extreme that you can't relate with them. But I want to explore all the ways that BioShock Infinite's storylines intersect with the various strands of Trump's foreign and domestic agenda, because then I would have to explain myself and not just my feels. There's enough to fuel a generation or two of graduate students if higher education continues to exist. He's a warped and fragile demagogue. His version of American history is all hero worship and no principle. The irony is palpable. When under stress, he tries to create tears in reality. Civil War monuments, apocalyptic Christianity, America first, because America first is bad, guys. Putting your country before other countries is bad, guys. And as mentioned before, a big part of the game is a shooting war between the protagonist and a bunch of armed and violent racists. I confess, I took great satisfaction in playing BioShock Infinite's opening chapter shortly after the protests and counter-protests in Charlottesville, Virginia, because I just want to punch Nazis, guys. That's what I want to do.
You go play the last... oh, God.
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein. I was going to say the financially unsuccessful Wolfenstein. Play that one.
Yeah. Shame.
Yep.
It was, well, that's its own deal. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't get any. Maybe it says a lot about certain people that after Charlottesville, I just wanted to kill Nazis. And it's like, well, you're free to do that in video games, of course, but
my advice for these people, people like Alex Cox here, is just go outside, find your nearest cop, go punch him, and that the problem of you will solve itself.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a good plan.
They say, I mean, this is coming from the side that says it's dangerous and bad to humanize people.
Yes.
You know, this is coming. I mean, that's literally how they say.
Could you imagine if they did humanize the white nationalists in this game? Could you imagine how much they would have fucking gone crazy?
Yeah, if this game was actually, I don't know what the development differences in terms of like the team, the dev team was between the first and second BioShock and Infinite. Something tells me it's pretty. Big.
It was drastic between the first.
Yeah, it must be because the first and second were great, and the Infinite was pretty garbo. So I'm very curious if the original dev team of BioShock 1 had made the game. I think it would have been much better in the way that it portrayed both of the sides. You know, instead of this. Yeah.
Actually, the guy who made BioShock, the first BioShock, also made BioShock Infinite. Only BioShock 2 was the one where he wasn't involved.
Yeah.
That's a. I could see that though. I could see that because
similar teams. It was only one guy that walked away. I forget the guy's name.
Because it feels like a different game. It feels like I wonder how. That's the guy, Ken Levine.
Levine.
Yeah. I wonder how much their pockets. You know, I wonder how much influence came from above. Because if the dev team was almost the same, then something drastically changed. The games feel different tonally. And they play differently. Everything about they don't feel like BioShock sequels. I mean, BioShock Infinite it basically exists outside of the world you knew. It's the same universe, granted. Yes, there are ties to it, certainly. But if it didn't have the BioShock name on the cover, it could be its own standalone game. I wonder what happened in the development that made them take that. And I bet it's publisher overreach. Is what it was.
I would question that because ultimately when it comes to a lot of these games, there's a lot of people that just say, like, that was the thing that people kept saying about BioWare for years, and it really pissed me off. It was, oh, it's EA, it's EA, it's EA. It's like, yeah, when does the buck stop with the people making the
BioWare's
fucking game?
team? I mean, they clearly it is a different team. I mean, they had people jumping ship all throughout the period between Mass Effect 1 and Andromeda, and eventually.
I don't think it's different for this series either. I think there's people that were coming and going, as it is with most companies. Even with Grand Theft Auto, there's been plenty of people that have been leaving Rockstar North consistently through every sequel. It's just a matter of whether they hire competent people or not. I think.
I guess they replaced them with not the right stuff.
Well, look at Ken Levine's new career. Nothing. He broke away from whoever the fuck was financing him, whatever publisher, and said he wanted to make
Wait. Wasn't Irrational Games closed after the game? Pretty
much.
He downsized the company.
The studio closed.
He downsized the company, saying that he wanted to work on different things, and then it went absolutely nowhere. He downsized it. It didn't close.
The studio was closed.
No, it wasn't. He downsized it.
I heard Irrational was gone.
I'll look it up.
Irrational Games. Its parent organization is 2K. Oh, its number of employees in 2014 was only 15. Let's see.
Okay,
it's renamed apparently.
Yes, this is what happened. Here's the article right here. It's from some fucking website I've never heard of. He left Irrational. Irrational Games is a developer, and I'm trying to see who the publisher was. Was it 2K?
I think. Yeah, 2K. For what game? For the BioShocks, I think it was.
So he split away from 2K and then downsized the company by a whole lot of people, and there was only 15. Taking 15, between 15 and 51 of the 200 employees. So he let go 150 employees and said that he wanted to work on other properties. He wanted to work on other material, but he didn't do anything. This was in 2014.
It's kind of been. It looks like it's kind of been quiet for a while. I mean, it says in January 15, Levine and the remaining staff are currently developing their first game, which will be a first-person sci-fi game. In February of 2017, the studio announced it had rebranded itself as Ghost Story Games, founded by 12 of the former Irrational members, with Levine still as president and creative director. At the point, as of this point, the studio had about 25 employees. So they're around, but
yeah, they're not doing anything.
I don't know.
Yeah, hey, Louis, everyone in the chat is talking about how you haven't read those super chats.
Oh,
Maybe you should do that.
Yeah, we could discuss the Theseus's ship argument as much as we want, but
that's fine. I just I saw a lot of that before. I don't like to be told what to do with my own stream, but I'll get to that. So we have Weeb, who says $10, who says I miss Rags.
Well, I'm glad you read the super chats for one. I'm glad you decided to do it. Don't worry, I'm not gone. I'm just sorting things out.
I'm not trying to tell you what to do.
Big plans for the channel.
Basinski, who is a regular, says, I'll pay you $100 to play Battlefront 2 or stream it or suck a hollow point bullet from your Beretta.
He didn't specify which Battlefront 2. He didn't specify which one.
Excellent.
Oh, man. Oh, I got my guns close to me, so maybe I'll choose
EA's Disney's Battlefront 2 by EA.
I'm not playing Battlefront 2. It's garbage. I played the beta. It's trash. D Fowler says doggy style me Rags.
Yeah, boy.
Basinski says again they canceled online poker because the internet tubes would get clogged up with horsey jockeying and all that uncontrolled betting. I think that's a reference to that Alaskan senator who retired a long time ago, who said tubes. Oh God, what was the line?
The YouTubes?
No, series of tubes, something like that. The quote of what he talked about the internet. He was like in his 80s.
Yeah.
Basinski says some Christian cults do not pan out, even though they have massive followings, mainly due to poison Kool-Aid. Thank you, Basinski. Mitch says
faster than others, I'll admit. Yeah.
Bake that cake, you bloody weeb scum. Basinski says maybe Levine is working on Half-Life 3.
Hey, look, I hope they come up with something great. I mean, if they have a lot of their original guys with them, I hope they come up with something. I mean, I really do. And I'm interested to see what they're able to come with. I mean, the fact that they renamed themselves Ghost Story Games, I mean, just that name alone, it has that, it has an interesting, it's a deliberate choice that they made to call themselves that. It has me interested what kind of projects they're working on, if that's what they want to call themselves. He said.
All right. I just noticed that Jeremy actually said in group chat that he had to go, so I didn't see that.
No, he's just sick of your shit.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, so we are out of articles unless anyone else has any articles.
Oh man, you haven't gone to the best part.
What?
Me.
On that one.
Oh yeah, okay. Hold on. Let me go back then. Let me go back.
Yeah, I mean if
you haven't gone to the best part.
Well, let me get it back on screen.
Oh, should I read the final paragraph or lead into it? Here, let me lead into
the final three paragraphs.
Yeah. All right, so
let me maximize this.
Let me get here. So
back on screen.
I was to blame for the other surprising resonance. I was to blame for the resonance. I can hear myself. I sound amazing. Sorry, I just smacked the bottom of my desk. Give me a second. All right. I was to blame for the other surprising resonance with our contemporary moment. I cannot stress enough how bad I am at actual first-person shooter gameplay. I am stupid bad. I am so bad at it that I gave myself motion sickness
oh my God.
until I figured out how to control the POV with something less than violent swings. At one point, I printed out the layout of the controls. This is in italics, so you know that she means business.
We're dealing with a professional.
Wow.
Here.
That's what it was at this. I think it was at this point. I was like, this person. Surely this isn't their only Polygon article. I
wonder if this is just one long, elaborate troll.
There's. How do you distinguish the trolls from people
I know,
like this anymore?
pose.
It's like, ugh. Even so, BioShock Infinite let me succeed. The game made my enemies unrealistically suicidal. In order to give me a chance at actually getting a shot off, they would occasionally pause and just stand in my field of vision. John Scalzi once wrote that being a straight white man is playing life at the lowest difficulty setting there is.
Oh my god.
Is that actually in there? Jesus.
Look,
Yes.
look. Will Smith's got it rough, okay? My shitty gameplay is a reminder that the game can always get easier if you're an important enough player. Or if you're just good. You know? BioShock Infinite made it possible for me to experience not just what it's like to be a straight white man, but what it's like to be Donald Trump.
What?
What in the
That doesn't even make any sense.
Bravo, Anna
Jesus.
Marie Cox. Thank you so much for
Send this bitch to the Grammys. She needs to read this at the Grammys because it's
Thank you. Yeah, this is a Grammy speech.
That'll fit right in.
God damn.
Let's talk about video games.
Well, you're right about the payoff at the end there, Appabend. That was fucking retarded.
Yeah.
The best
BioShock
thing I
Infinite.
wow.
Trump
This-
Simulator.
Great laugh.
Trump simulator. Yeah, that's what Trump's life is like. Yeah, sure.
Spends the whole game trying to save a woman. Oh wait, he spends the whole game not caring about people's race. Oh fuck, this is a terrible analogy. Don't think about it. Making them look good. Like you play as the hero of the story, right? You know
Don't think about it too much.
No, don't think about it. Don't think about it. You get to shoot racists because it's morally justified to kill them if they're racists. Because you can't be anything worse than a racist. There is no crime that deserves a higher punishment than the crime of racism. Can't possibly be anything worse.
I guess we could segue to the fact that I'm surprised nobody actually mentioned this in a super chat, but there's been like an ongoing debate since this morning on my Twitter feed of people basically, I guess, that aren't alt-right versus the alt-right, where I was like severely mocking the alt-right this morning, and then a bunch of people basically joined in, and ever since then it's basically been like these same few alt-right people basically bitching.
Louis, you don't understand. You don't know. You don't understand alt-right philosophy. You don't know.
Well,
if you did, you would be one, Louis. If only you understood, but
it's
you
pretty
don't.
amazing. It's pretty amazing because one of the things that I mention in it is that, you know, like they keep coming, like I keep asking, like, okay, are you married? Do you have kids? Are you married? Do you have kids? Do you like what is preventing you from having kids and basically continuing with the white race? And the excuses that they gave me, where I live in California and the taxes are too high, I have student loan debt, the taxes are too high generally, I enjoy a comfortable lifestyle and don't want kids, and just shit like that. And it's like, okay, so you're coming at me saying that I'm somehow enabling white genocide when you yourself, like, you're not having kids. You're not getting in a committed relationship. You're not pumping out kids regardless of the ends because you think the white race needs to be continued. And I basically started questioning to people like, okay, why does the white race matter? And they were like, oh, well, they're not on welfare. They're employed, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, if you look at statistics in the United States, Asians top whites in every single category possible, just about.
Yeah, alt-righters bow down to your betters.
And then they go, well, then the statistics don't matter. And it's just like, Jesus fucking Christ, like you people are impossible to argue with.
Yeah.
And literally there's been these same people in my mentions, and I'm not saying mentions, I'm just saying they've been going back and forth all fucking day. Literally
I've had
12
those
or so
threads,
hours.
Like, hide mute this conversation. They just keep going and going and going and going. The last go get it. Rex, isn't the alt future Booker / Trump evil? Checkmate doggo. Evil? No. I don't think Comstock was evil.
He's just crazy.
Also, it's important to note that there's the whole point of the story is that there's infinite realities. So there's an infinite amount of realities where Comstock is good, and there by extension Trump is just as good. Yep. Which is ultimately why the story falls apart and doesn't make any sense and doesn't follow the logic of its rules. But don't think about it. Don't think about it because it's fucking pretentious and preachy as shit, which means if you don't think about it, it's amazing.
Yeah.
fucking 97% approval on Steam or some shit like that. The story was so good. No, it's not. It's a fucking garbage story. But it sounds impressive superficially, which is why you said it had a great story, because you didn't think about it.
Should we? It's something related to gaming. I actually got into a little bit of back and forth with Eric Kane, despite the fact that he has me muted the other day. This was on the 28th, where he was actually siding with Blizzard in terms of chasing after players who put out toxic content on social media.
Yeah, that bullshit. The Jeff Kaplan thing. For those of you who aren't in the know, Blizzard is going to, even without being reported, even without anybody saying anything to Blizzard, they will go through your social media and your YouTube comments and preemptively ban you if they feel like you could bring toxicity to Overwatch. And as a lot of you know, Overwatch is basically the most toxic game that exists. So
how do they know what your Twitter handle is? And shit?
They'll find out.
They have to basically research it.
They'll probably use your account information.
Well, the thing is that Eric Kane claims that they never said specifically that it would be Twitter. That they're looking for people basically, in his mind, live streaming them, trolling or doing whatever. But the thing is that, what the fuck is the point of the reporting system?
Jeff, he was extremely open-ended with his explanation of what they will look through.
Media sites like YouTube. Yes. That's
for
what
instance,
he said.
If they will go through your YouTube comments, what makes you think they'll go, oh, but what you do on Twitter is fine? That totally isn't something we're going to look at.
Right.
But we'll go through all of your YouTube comments. But
is there a way to link Twitter to your account at Blizzard? Or
what they'll probably do is they'll go through the information on your account that you set up, which is why I have a throwaway email that I use for all my game signups and things, just to have that be its own state, so I don't get my personal name has all those notifications for apps and logins and registrations and things. But if you make a Blizzard account and you use that for Overwatch and StarCraft and Destiny, if anyone still plays that, but you log in with that and you have an email attached to it, and they find that email, and I mean, they've got it on their system, so maybe they try and see if it's connected to anything else. I don't know. I'm sure that they will connect whatever dots they have the power to. But remember, this does not require them to have the prerequisite of a report on your account. They will do it if they just want to do it.
It's proactive.
Yes, this is proactive banning. This is pre-crime, you see. This is proactive banning. You don't have to be reported by somebody else.
Yeah, it's
and remember,
it's
you could be
ridiculous.
banned. You can Blizzard didn't make Destiny. It's on battle.net. You have to have like a battle.net account to play Destiny, because it's launched through Blizzard's Battle.net service. So thank you, Pickle.
Yeah, I don't. The thing about Overwatch is that I played it a while back, and I played it with a couple friends. It got old really fast.
It's a good game, but it's not for everybody. Dirty Bomb's better anyway, and ultimately, it's a game that will. I do. I definitely
Dirty Bomb may be okay in terms of the gameplay, but Jesus Christ, the amount of cheaters you're gonna go up against.
I never have a problem.
I don't know
I'm not saying never. I don't say never, but I mean, I've got about 30 hours in it every once in a while. But when it comes to Blizzard, I mean, Blizzard is a game, or Overwatch is a game that will ban you if you play the wrong character. So Destiny isn't Blizzard. You have to go through Blizzard's Battle.net app, and you have to have their account to have a Battle.net application open so that you can play Destiny, for which you have to use your, I believe, Activision
Destiny
account.
wasn't Blizzard.
I know you have. What is Destiny used to launch itself on the PC? It uses Battle.net. It uses Battle.net.
Really?
Yeah. Did everyone forget? Yeah, Blizzard. You go to Blizzard's Battle.net, BattleEye, whatever it is, and right there you have all of Blizzard's games, and you have Activision's game, Destiny 2, and you launch it through the Blizzard service. But thank you, everybody, for thank you for letting me know. The game I fucking had to do a shit thoughts video on that. I played 20 hours or whatever. Thank you for letting me know. I don't know how to launch. I know what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna quickly read a super chat by Mitch. It says the Guardian.
By the way,
hold on. Super chat's in the way. Got to hammer them out. The Guardian is pleased with this reading of chats by Mitch. Thank you, Mitch. Okay, go ahead, Appabend.
All right. There was an update on that on that Blizzard's trying to ban people for toxic YouTube comments. Basically, Blizzard said, the Play Overwatch or official account said, I think you misunderstood Jeff's comments. We don't target social media comments themselves. We target players who are being toxic in game clips, which are posted on social media sites.
Okay. Thanks,
How's that
Blizzard.
different?
I feel better. That clears it up.
Right. Well,
You're
the
gonna
thing is,
sit down and watch all the
the
videos?
problem is that they have actually said that if you just play one enough of a character, like if I show a clip on Twitter of me playing Mercy too much, oh man,
yeah,
toxic
they also did that.
behavior.
There are people who have gotten reprimanded in game because their
Really?
team didn't like the team didn't like your hero pick.
Oh well,
Yeah.
I mean in terms of the company. If people want to bitch in a game, that's whatever. But I mean the company, like basically coming into the game, pick another character.
Like,
Oh, they
like,
literally did.
you're playing
Did
a
that
little
happen?
bit too much.
They
Mercy
literally
there.
did.
I mean, did they come into the game and say that, or was it after they banned that guy that played Torbenson or whatever?
After
yeah,
after they banned
that's
okay.
it. Yeah, Fui 500. Blizzard has summarily banned a player going by the handle of Fui 500 for only having one main character, Torbjorn. PC Games In is reporting that the player was reported multiple times for his unwillingness to play as other characters in the game's competitive mode. Now he's fresh out of his $60 for what Blizzard considers to be a case of exercising bad behavior when it comes to teamwork.
How's that bad behavior? I don't get it.
Because you're not playing the game right. You're playing within. You see, you're not. You're not playing the game
a
right.
defensive character on offense. That was his sin.
He wasn't playing. I guess he didn't have a character that the team wanted him to play. Basically,
Why does the game let him choose a character if you can
Exactly.
choose a
Just
character?
just because the game allows you to do something and doesn't punish you for it, doesn't mean that the developers will ban your account for doing exactly what they put in the game for you to do.
Yeah.
Look, if
ridiculous.
you were a game dev, you'd understand. This is some serious shit.
I'm glad I'm not a game dev.
Me too.
The only thing I saw is that I saw this pop up the day it came out, but they added a new outfit for a bunch of the characters, and one of the outfits they added was for Diva, which was a gothic Lolita Catgirl outfit. And
Yeah.
I saw that outfit and I was like, I don't care. I'm not installing this game.
I only
care
play
either.
quick play. I don't.
Oh,
I
really?
only play. I don't play competitively in the game. No, I got like 200 something hours over since I bought it. But I don't fucking. I play. I'll hop on and play a few games. I hop off. I don't.
Yeah, there's not enough to the game in my opinion. It's way too.
It doesn't hold my
repetitive.
interest over time, really.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I just sort of fell out. I was like, all right.
Yeah. Top comment. Next up, players getting banned for Zerg rushing in the StarCraft remake. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
fucking sad.
But the thing is that one of the things that I think people should be outraged by is that, considering where we are when it comes to all these different social media companies, Facebook, Google, Twitter, all these companies that are basically cracking down on anyone they dislike and getting rid of them. It's like, do we really need some of that coming into gaming where it's just like, by the way, because here's the thing. Do you think it's going to stop with gameplay? Do you think that's where it's going to stop?
Absolutely not. No, they'll keep going and going until they leave, until people leave. People go. And when you look at what's interesting, this, if anything, is a condemnation of game balance. If anything else, if you have a character that is you ban someone for playing a character that you put in the game, but he's not unpickable. You can pick him and play him, but you get banned because because he's not viable enough? Why is he not a viable character? Shouldn't you be able to use him? Like, even if he's listed as a defensive character and you're on the attacking side, for instance, why isn't he viable? Why are you restricting his role like that?
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that the character by itself isn't necessarily viable, because for anyone that played Team Fortress 2, you can make characters work in many different ways.
And it is a good game. It is a good game. But I don't, and I could see where people, it has such a immensely high skill ceiling. I don't have the time to devote to it to get super good. But it's good, but man, it's like everything that Blizzard does is just like you know,
They're going the Bioware route.
basically, it's like the game is all right. It's like PUBG. It's like the game is fine, but it's all the stupid decisions that Bluehole and all the dumb crap that Brendan Green says, you know, that puts me off of it.
Yeah, I still have more people coming to me saying like it's like a mixture of people coming to me saying, "Oh, you need to buy this game," and people saying, "Me, don't ever fucking buy this game." It's hilarious with that game, PUBG specifically.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
no.
a bad. PUBG's not a bad game. It's just that it has some very obvious, glaring issues that could be so simply resolved that they refuse to do.
The Steam fucking reviews are amazing.
They all say
like,
region lock China.
Yeah,
they
it's
all
like
say
it's
region lock
huge
China.
block lettering. It's like plus 5,000 thumbs up for people finding it helpful review. Region lock China in top font. So hilarious.
Yep.
Oh god.
It's like, but what do they want? I was like, they know what they want. And they've specifically said that they're not going to region lock China because it's not what's best for their game. Meanwhile, all the players are going, please region lock China. They're on the other side of the planet, and we're trying to play a very, very ping-based
It's a Twitch shooter.
first-person shooter. Ugh. And I was like, that's fine. I'll just go play other games.
That's a success story. That's how you know you have a future as a company. You have a massive, impossibly large hit, and then it's just like, yeah, now that we've made all this money, why don't you all go die? Why don't you go fuck yourselves?
Like, we have your fucking money, and
we got your money. We don't care.
We got your money, so fuck you.
Yeah, the Western gaming industry, ladies and gentlemen, gotta love it. It doesn't have a bright future.
I find myself playing more and more of these AA level games, and I'm getting away from that AAA market because so many of the games they're just not interesting.
I can't escape it, dude. Every fucking AA game is a fucking top-down RPG or some shit, and it just makes me want to choose between, you know, as Basinski said, Battlefront 2 or sucking a bullet, because I can't take them. I can't. It's not me. Let's see here. All right, yeah. So any other recommendations for topics to talk about in relation to what's been brought up? Oh, actually, yeah, go ahead. Let me bring something up. Go ahead.
All right. Check this out.
Oh. Yeah.
All right.
Let me see that. What do you got here?
Let
me get this on screen real quick. Stop closing this. It's guy from Polygon.
Super chat there.
Hold on. Doing too many things at once. Okay, we'll read this and then I'll do the super chat. All right, who wants to read it?
Chris
Appabend.
Plant. Yeah, go ahead.
Appabend, you read it.
All right. 2 ways to read this tweet and reply. Number 1, Razer thinks it's hip and young and is smugly doubling down on something it doesn't understand. Number 2, Razer is bandwagoning a racist meme and is being a jerk to someone plainly questioning that decision. Both are terrible looks. Now, if you zoom in all the way down, you have Razer basically tweeting a Uganda Knuckles meme in RGB.
Razer is the way.
Yeah.
Razer is the way.
Well, they cucked out, so they're not the way. They're not the way. Razer cucked out.
Yeah, they cucked out. They cucked out. They deleted the tweet. But this isn't the best part. This is just the introduction. Somebody made a 16 Twitter thread.
Okay, hold
just
on.
about how. Just read it. I said 2 links in it. It's just. That's
Number
thread one out of 16.
Question mark. That's how you know you're going wrong. 1 out of question mark. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me get this on screen. Hey, Razer, let's chat. I want you to understand why memes like this hurt gamers like me. I've been a gamer since I was like 7, and taking turns playing Crash Bandicoot with my dad and my brother. When my best friend killed herself, and then college gaming went from hobby to obsession. Well, maybe Mattis, maybe you should kill yourself too, bro.
Remember, the Uganda Knuckles meme it's hurtful and it hurts real people. And it's dangerous and it kills people. The Uganda Knuckles meme actually kills black people. They die in the streets. They
I am ready to kill myself right now. I'm Mattis Leyland. StarCraft 2 came out this summer and it defined my life. I was shit at the game to start. 0 out of 10 into bronze, but I determined to improve. I climbed a diamond, and as weird as it sounds, StarCraft 2 taught me what it meant to work for something. Oh my god, dude.
This meme hurts black people. They're dying in the streets.
Oh my god.
I mean, this beloved meme that brings everybody together, that everybody loves and laughs at, that the makers of the material for which the meme comes from love and retweet. It's dangerous. It hurts people.
Okay,
Fuck
let's
off.
continue. Shortly thereafter, I discovered League of Legends, a game in which it's been only one of the constants in my life since. I made a living writing about League of Legends. First, ballot/game design, then esports, and after a stint as a playtester, I now work in communications. Without gaming, I might not be a functional man. You do. Okay, stop.
You're not.
Stop.
That's implying I'm a functional man right now.
Stop.
As I tirade on Twitter about how a meme is killing me in the street.
Okay, I need to just pause and reread that again in a monotone voice. Without gaming, I might not be the functional man I am today.
Shame your keyboard's functional.
I want to see. I need some testing in that. We need some actual.
Yeah, I want to see the testosterone levels there.
Gaming made me a man.
Yes, correct. Okay.
I'm not going to say there's anything unmanly about gaming, but I will say that gaming does not a man make.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's certainly nothing manly about these tweets. So
we need to push on. I might not even be alive. Instead, I have a job. I love working alongside the designers of a game I love, and I have a kick-ass community around me. Well, sort of. The harmful stereotypes of niggers in games has always made me feel distant from the community. Something I've written about before. Yeah, I know. My verse website sucks. I don't care.
Yeah, they bring up Gamergate, of course.
Old video games didn't have black people, okay? And the few were always stereotypes, comic relief, violent, brute, and so on. Over time, this has changed, and games have made beautiful art. When Zox Final Fantasy 13, okay, no spoilers, but I sobbed, and I couldn't play the game for weeks. What?
Couldn't play the game for weeks and stuff. Fuck off.
Wow.
They bring up Gamergate. During Gamergate, they harassed women and people of color.
Hold on. You're skipping ahead. Functional man. I just want to relay that. Functional man. Okay, now we move on to number 7. But here's the thing. There are those in the community who aren't very happy with the progress we've made. During #Gamergate, they harassed women and people of color. Or sorry, I meant women and niggers who just wanted to feel included. I and many people I know were threatened, doxed and swatted. Okay, Police report, bro.
Yeah, there's no police. There's no evidence. They'll always say things that this ambiguous, open-ended statements. Gamergate harassed women and people of color because they want to keep gaming white or some crap like that.
The only one that I'm aware of that was swatted during Gamergate was Mundane Matt. As far as I know, he's the only one.
But they never point to examples. It's always this listen and believe garbage nonsense from these con artists like Zoe Quinn and companies.
Yeah.
It's all it is. There's never any evidence. There's never any proof for it because it's not there. Even the FBI
it's just
had
asserted.
An investigation, and it came up with nothing.
Just asserted. I completely agree. All right.
Yeah, that's why he qualified it with other people as well. Yeah.
Right. It wasn't him. He just knew him.
Yeah.
Name him, please. Name him. Who? Police report. Where? And since then, we've seen the subset of gamers cling to their offensive racism and misogyny, doubling down on memes that take to mock and belittle women and niggers. I'm going to keep saying niggers every time he says people of color or whatever. I'm going to keep saying niggers because I don't like the word people of color. And that's what he expects.
Well, just say colored people. It's the same thing. Oh no, it's different. Oh, it's different. No, I'm sorry. I was applying English in a logical way. I'm sorry. English is racist too. I'm sorry. I forgot that. I just stopped talking.
I don't want to say that everybody who uses this meme is a racist. That's dumb.
I don't want to. I don't want to say that everyone who just uses this meme is racist. That would be dumb.
Not
that there would
everyone.
be dumb. Everything before this was totally sane. But that would be dumb.
Everyone that uses Ugandan knuckles is racist. Not everyone.
Some of them.
Just a lot. Just a specific number. I'm not going to say. We've reduced racism to simplicity to a thing.
To simplistically to the it's typing his part.
Simplicity to do when it's really a system that is applied to people. Simplistically, it's poking fun at an African accent.
Okay, so
it's racism.
Is it poking fun at an African accent, or is it the fact that the African accent is coming from a cartoon echidna?
Yeah.
You idiot.
Jesus Christ.
It's coming from a stupid, a unrealistically cartoonish version of an already cartoon character.
It just keeps okay, it's 16. Okay, we can make it. We need to push on. And since okay, let's move on. I bet you most people couldn't identify Ugandan from Rwandan before this meme began.
Motherfucker, you can't either.
Yeah, I know, seriously.
I want you to stand an Indian man next to a Pakistani man, and I want you to tell the difference. And if you don't, you're a fucking bigot. If you don't,
I can usually tell the difference. I know some Pakistanis and Indians. I can tell the difference. There's one group I'm afraid of. Anyways, they got beef with Ugandans, but in context of the history of video games, it's just another piece of media making black people. I'll say black people because he said black people, the butt of the joke. Okay.
I wonder how much money that Hollywood got from the movie that all this was based off of.
He probably made a lot. He probably saw a spike.
They were tweeting all this Uganda Knuckles stuff because it was great. They put it out
promotion.
There. Yeah, it's free promotion. People were like quoting their movie. People were getting into it. People love it.
Yeah.
Like, these memes aren't insulting anybody. Yeah. There is no butt of the joke. It's just silly.
I'm pretty sure that's obvious, except for these people, if they're assuming they're honest. But for some people, it's more. Yesterday, it's discussing this very meme. A troll ultimately admitted that his goal was to make fun of you and your kind. I really doubt he said your kind, because that is such a progressive talking point. Nobody says your kind. I've interacted with white nationalists. They don't even say that. So if they don't even say that, only progressives say it as a talking point.
The thing is that Uganda Knuckles is such a great meme because it doesn't make fun of anything. It's just silly. It's that Monty Python humor of it's so ridiculous that you can't help but just laugh at it because of how silly it is. It's this amorphous, ambiguous comedy. It doesn't have a punchline. It's just ridiculous. It's silly. And that silliness makes you laugh because it's so out of place.
Yeah.
Because it's things that don't match. Yeah, there's no victim to it. And the people who think that it is implicitly insulting or making something a butt of a joke, it's because they're looking at it already. They're walking in and looking at it through a lens. It's very telling about them far more than the meme.
Oh, he actually has the quote here. But I don't know who the fuck this is. Who is Big Kang? He quotes him. So who is this guy?
I don't know, Big Kang.
So yeah, some guy said.
I'm sorry, Big Kang, if we've spoken in the past and I can't remember.
Is this guy actually black?
I don't know. Maybe.
On the bottom, he has his picture of himself on the bottom.
Okay. He looks fucking Latino. Anyways, and when things like this happen again, whenever we have another example like PewDiePie saying "nigger," it makes it harder to ignore. Yes, for many people, it's just a dumb, ill-thought joke, but it provides cover for people who with hate in their hearts.
How does it provide cover for people with hate in their hearts? Like who's being covered by?
Whenever I hear that phrase "hate in their hearts," it reminds me of I forget the name of the character, but it's from Chappelle Show. It's the name of the black white supremacist. Something Gillespie.
The blind guy?
Yeah, the blind guy. Something Gillespie, something like that. And he says he says it numerous times when he gives a speech with the hood on. And he says that's one of the things he says is, if you have hate in your heart, say "what power," and that's everyone goes "what power." Every time I see hate in their hearts, I always think of that bit.
Uncle Ruckus.
No, it's not Uncle Ruckus. That's actually something. That's actually from Boondocks, or no, from the Boondocks. It's actually also very good.
Yeah.
But Chappelle Show was that to me when I was growing up was so big, and that's how I know like the whole thing. Oh man,
Clayton Bigsby, everybody. We mentioned it.
Yeah, Clayton Bigsby. Thank you. Growing up with Chappelle Show, out of all the people in my high school, which was very white,
Mine was too.
That was like the most popular show for as long as it ran. Everyone loves Chappelle Show. So to say it's like, oh, you have all these white supremacists in this white high school and that hate blacks, except for their favorite comedian that they can't stop talking about is Dave Chappelle with his all black cast, with the exception of the one writer named Tom, I think it was. That was the one only the white guy in the show.
Like, what do you do with your life, Matthias? It's like I get angry at memes on Twitter. And then I keep tweeting about them.
All right, I'm gonna skip some of this shit because it's getting boring. We'll skip to 16. Do I stick with the Razer keyboard? Look! Oh my god! Look at that keyboard, bro! Look at that disgusting keyboard.
but listen, you gotta remember that black don't crack.
Okay. Okay, whatever. I'm moving on from this because it's fucking stupid. Jesus Christ! I was scrolling back up to
themselves.
I like how he says eventually it'll get crummy and disgusting or whatever it was.
Like, I'm not willing to vote with my wallet now, but I will in the future when I won't get called out for it.
I'm zooming.
Joke about the real problem of racial. Yeah, that's right, because the Ugandan Knuckles meme, it racially alienates blacks and whites in the gaming community. Like, you might have thought that it brought people of all colors and races and nationalities together within an already extremely inclusive hobby, but you were wrong.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Black people through the use of a clearly red echidna cartoon version of a cartoon character quoting a movie.
That's right. Yeah, it's pretty fucking stupid when you think about it. Especially like, oh, they're kicking women out of gaming. It's like, yeah, that's right. I'm going to my local Walmart saying, no bitches are coming in here.
I just stand in front of the counter, and whenever a woman grabs a game, I smack it out of her hand.
When they download that game on their PlayStation, I bust into their room, and I'm like, no.
I unplug their modem and say, don't you do it again. Now you got to restart your download.
Yeah, join gaming.
You better not be playing that game when I walk back in here, lady.
By the way, Louis, I just want to point out, as you're browsing that Imgur page, do you know how Google basically tracks your ads?
Yeah, I know. I saw an Asian one.
The dating site towards Asian girls on the right.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You're gonna be out of this.
I didn't say anything. I was like, that's interesting. All right, fair enough. Hey, you know what you like, and so does Google.
I'm not judging. I'm not complaining. Just pointing it out.
Okay, we got a super chat. At least one we got to get to. So let me pound out some super chats. Dale Ritter says, here's $10 to not buy Overwatch. I love you. Thank you, Dale. I will continue to not play Overwatch. And Dale Ritter says, again, I don't think you appreciate how Swole Gaming has made me and my hands. Every year I bulk up with protein powders and hundreds of hours of grinding in Dota, only stopping with when my arthritis acts up. Yeah, that's one of the things. Like, playing games is basically a one-way trip to how to fuck up your health. Like I get in regular cardio during the week. I pretty much jog every single day of the week.
Yeah, I did that too. You it's a hobby that keeps you very interested, but not 95% of your body. Go outside, jog a bit, couple push-ups in between games, keeps I keep myself looking good.
Especially as you age, man. That's one of the things. My fucking metabolism, it is slowing down, and man, I gotta keep working out harder every year that goes by. Get out of here. So I just thought I would mention these two games that are coming out. There are currently 2 Vita exclusive games being published by Atlas. Now, right after they had their best-selling hit, which was Persona 5. They're coming out with 2 rhythm dance games based on their Persona games. They're coming out with Persona 3, Dancing Moonlight, which is based on the 3rd Persona, and that includes the alternative protagonist, which is the best protagonist of the 2, in my opinion, of Persona 3.
Yeah.
And they're coming out with a Persona 1, hot on the heels of their last game. Not saying it will be in English necessarily. I'm not sure if it's going to translate directly or not. I don't know if they're going to have an English version at the same time.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's fascinating.
Yeah,
All right.
I just thought I would mention this because it's out of the blue. Like I heard from somebody that is pretty aware of Atlas games, and they said this is kind of out of nowhere that they're coming out with these two games.
Yeah, $63 for a Vita game.
This is pretty much old news, fam. You just
Really?
got out and did it. Yep.
I was told by somebody this came out of nowhere.
It's
it's
new.
fine.
It's new to me. I'm just now hearing about Persona 5 Dancing Moonlight.
No, it's Persona 5 is actually Dancing Star Night.
Persona 5 Dancing Star Night. And
Persona
3 Dancing Moon Night.
Yes.
Moon Knight, not Moonlight. All right.
No, Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
You got to keep in mind these are
Perfect.
Japanese developers. They got perfect English. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that because right now, what these games are, in my opinion, is why I bring them up, is that this is a Japanese victory lap. This is what a victory lap
they sold
looks
so
like.
well over here because so many people are sick of these, cookie cutter, uninteresting, unappealing, paint by numbers AAA projects.
Sequels. I think you can just say sequels because pretty much every fucking company is just releasing sequels at this point.
It depends on what they do with them, but a lot of them are sequels, and I wish they would put a lot of like we don't need a lot of the times you're like, let's end the series here. It's gone on long enough. Do something new and interesting.
Yeah. The only sequel that I think that I would trust would be something from Rockstar. In my my estimation isn't infinite with them in terms of assuming their competence because I thought Grand Theft Auto 4 was a massive misstep. But outside of that, they've had a good track record if you exclude their business practices. They've been pretty good when it comes to sequels from my point of view. But outside of Rockstar, I don't really think that there's many companies out there that I really expect sequels to be just blowout hits, blockbuster successes.
Well, I mean, financially, and like blockbuster successes financially, sure, but actually good, interesting games, maybe not so much.
I don't think either at this point. I mean, people are basically trying to cling to the idea that like the sequels that are coming out, like people told me, like the whole thing with the last Assassin's Creed game, which was Origin, whatever the fuck.
Origins, yeah, it's quite good. I like it.
The whole thing that people are saying, oh, it's a success, and it's like, yeah, it's a success compared to the last like 3 or 4 that sold like shit and has been on a complete and utter downward trajectory. Like,
yeah, they took an extra year to develop it. It feels really good. I really like what they did with it.
But then again, if we're talking about Ubisoft here,
hold on a second. I got to take off right now.
All right.
So
all right.
Thanks for having me, Louis, and nice talking to all you other guys there. So.
Yep.
I'll see you later.
Stopping by.
I will catch you later. Ciao.
Take care. Bye.
take care.
So yeah, going back to what you're saying.
Oh, these kids talking about their video games.
No, he said he had to go.
Their
He could only-
computer boxes.
Actually, I just noticed that recent sequels have been rather meh. Like a lot of the sequels that are released now, like try to think of the sequels in the past 2 years. Like Wolfenstein 2 was garbage. Dishonored 2 was meh. Watch Dogs 2, yeah, it was better than the first, but it didn't sell as well.
Destiny 2.
Destiny 2.
I don't think there's a single sequel you could name where I would not agree with you.
Well, there's a lot of them that do good, like Divinity Original Sin 2. It's fantastic.
I mean
That's-
AAA. I don't mean
a lot of the AAA
wildly
ones are.
successful.
Okay.
I'd have to go
Yeah,
back and think. Not a lot of them. It's hard for me to think about all this stuff off the top of my head. I mean, good ones that I've played that are AAA recently. Honestly, I mean, Origins and I would have to Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's that.
It's a Japanese game, so I don't know if it counts because it's not Western.
Nah, it
market.
doesn't count. Yeah, might as well count Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild in there.
Yeah, I've had
The Witcher 2 and The Witcher 3.
Witcher 3 barely counts because and that actually came out in like 2015 or something.
Yeah, the last
Yeah.
couple years or so, you know. Close enough.
But yeah, there's been a lot of games that have come out that have not been good. And Pickle Rick just asked in chat if Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands is a sequel. Yes, it is, Pickle Rick.
What is it a sequel to?
Ghost Recon. It's a
I
Ghost
mean, like,
Recon.
it's another in a
franchise.
series, but they can be pretty. They can be pretty varied.
I don't know if I'd agree with you. I don't hate Wildlands. Like, I haven't installed, but I wouldn't say that I would count it as something. If it were standalone, I wouldn't even say it's good. So
I didn't play enough of Wildlands to. I played the beta, but it didn't run right. It was a beta, but it didn't run right on my PC, and I just didn't have. It just didn't really. It didn't grab me. It didn't interest me. It's like it's a third-person shooter with some stealth elements. It's like okay, I got. Yeah. Some are great. Some are not so great. A lot of them are not so great, as the case may be. But then then you take a step down and you look at sequels like Killing Floor 2 and stuff like
that's a few years old.
Oh yeah. But you look you go to things like what is it? God, I'm dropping. No, I'm dropping on the name because you play a
There's
million.
just so
games.
many.
Well, you play a million games. It's hard to snatch them out of the ether.
I don't
Divinity
think
Original Sin 2.
I don't think you're gonna come up with anything because
For double A sequels that are good.
No, I'm not talking about double A's. All right, you could come up with whatever the fuck that 10,000 fucking people have played, but I'm talking about the AAA games that are supposed to be the tippity top of the industry. They're supposed to be best-selling blockbusters, and yet every single fucking game that's coming out is either a direct sequel or is part of an existing series or franchise, which people are excusing Wildlands. Wildlands is still part of the Ghost Recon series. Please spare me. But either way, they are all direct sequels. They are not all, but many are cookie cutter, the ones of the past, and they are selling less predominantly. They're almost always selling less than the previous sequel, and they are of mediocre quality. I think that is something that is universally true. They are of mediocre quality. So I think
I don't know. I thought Prey was really, really good.
Prey wasn't a sequel.
Prey
was a reboot.
Reboot.
Yeah, reboot, I guess, but it's still technically a part of an existing series. But even there, I would say that I liked Prey, but the game does have some serious issues, and I don't like the crammed-in diversity that everyone loves to excuse.
In Prey?
Yes.
I never really noticed it.
I think we've been through this before. There's at least 5 gay couples that I can recollect offhand.
I didn't even. I can only recall one.
It gets a little bit stupid because after you notice, like the thing that the only exception that I will make for the game in terms of that I thought worked decently was if you play the female Morgan and you save the one doctor who's Russian or something. I can't quite remember her name. If you go find her medicine, bring it to her, and save her life, that is actually you saving someone that you had a former relationship with.
That's the same with the male character as well.
Correct. But the thing is that with that, it is a lesbian couple. But it is excusable because it is something that existed in the lore. It's actually not on the nose like it was in other cases with the lesbians in the all-female band. That was on the fucking nose. And so there was a gay couple, 2 men, and there was another lesbian couple. And the others were all on the nose.
I only remember the lesbian couple because one of them, I forget her name. I remember like meeting her in the conversations, but I forget her name. But she's not actually in a relationship because your partner died, and she only references it. But I guess I didn't really. I never. Maybe it is. I didn't really notice.
Like I said, I noticed it, and it's not the only thing about the game. It's also the ridiculous amount of diversity in the game. I also find that to be a bit on the nose. But the thing is that like in a sci-fi setting, you can only be so mindful of those kind of things. But like I said, I took issue with some of that in the game. I didn't like it. I thought, especially when it came to the lesbian stuff. And again, like I play lesbian visual novels. I don't have a problem with that. But the issue is that I know why it's there. And it's not because this is a Yuri game that I'm playing from a Japanese writer. This is a Western game that has included this for the sake of escaping the fucking priestly class that will go after them if they have too many straight whites. That is why it's in the game. And that's why I take issue with it. It shows.
I didn't even notice. I guess I was. I like I said, I didn't even notice.
Like I said, to me, it's on the nose. Some of it can be defended, but some of it can't be. But yeah, I mean, if you just the thing is that if you don't point that out, if you don't make note of it and say that you don't like it, like I'm doing here, and it's fine, Rags, if you didn't notice it and whatever else, but. The reason why I'm saying that I don't like it is because if you don't do this early on, then you end up with Mass Effect Andromeda where you can't make a white character. And that's just something that's it just happened. Oh, it's such a coincidence. We had to patch it literally into the game and add the prototypes or the archetypes to the game so you could actually make a white character. That's just a coincidence. But hey.
So basically you do it once and you're going to do it again.
If you do it once and there's no blowback to it, there's no PR against you for doing it that the developers take seriously, it will get worse. That is my argument. And I think that wherever you see it, it is true. All right, we got to pound through some super chats right here real quick. Andrew says, too many sequels. They just rinse and repeat nowadays. Yes, yeah, very much so, Andrew. Andrew says again, do you think indie devs will ever truly take over? I think that's the day I eat a bullet because I do not like indie titles. Really? Yes, I don't like indie titles. I think they are overpraised, just nostalgia tripping nonsense. I don't like. There are some very quality indie games or AA games. There are quality games, but almost to a T, I can't get into them, or they are just intentionally obsolete. They have old style gameplay that I don't like. That's done intentionally for the sake of pandering to nostalgia, and I don't like that. So, I support indie devs on Kickstarter all the time, so I'm not against people supporting the devs that they want to support. It's a free market. You can feel free to make Divinity Original Sin 3 the next best-selling game on Steam as it was with the last two. They've been extremely best-selling, and they've been highly rewarded, and I think Larian Studios deserves that success. But, you can make the game 4 or 5 fucking times. I'll never get into it. It's just impossible for me to get into. We got one more. Mute Gamer says, just bought Catherine on your recommendation. You better have bought it through my fucking affiliate link there, bro. And have a good time. So here's a tip. Any other games or visual novels you can recommend? Maybe if I take a look. But I'm glad that you bought Catherine. In my opinion, it's the best Atlas game that I've played anyways. What is it?
But Call of Duty World War V.
No, I wouldn't say that Atlas is indie. Atlas is pretty AAA.
No, Atlas has been doing very well. The franchise has been for like the 90s, spanning from the 90s. So yeah,
The Witcher 3 is an indie game.
I don't agree with that. I think they were a AA that moved up to AAA. The Witcher 1 was even.
Witcher 3 is an indie game.
I don't agree with that.
It is produced and developed by CD Projekt Red.
Well, there's a published.
I mean AAA in terms of the scale. That's what I mean by AAA. I don't think that you necessarily need a publisher to be AAA. It's about the scale, in my opinion. Like Atlas shipped Persona 5 globally to extreme demand. And by the way, credit to Atlas. I complained endlessly about this in the previous Persona games. All credit to Atlas for including Japanese voice for the Western release. Thank you, Atlas, for doing that, because fuck the actors that Atlas hires for their English dubbing. God fucking damn, are they always awful? And I'm glad they did not include them this time.
I got 99
Alright.
problems, and none of them are weeb problems. All right, know what I'm saying.
Okay, so somebody wanted a recommendation for a visual novel. I got a lot of mediocre ones that I could offer, but I'm gonna offer Euphoria because I've offered it before. Go play Euphoria.
Yeah, definitely.
That'll blow
Actually,
your fucking mind.
I have one.
Go ahead.
The title is pretty long, so start note it. All right, ready?
You guys can just go read a book.
No, you can't read this shit in a book, bro. Euphoria is pretty extreme. I gotta say, it's probably one of the most extreme visual novels I've fucking played. One of the things that somebody paid me to play.
Appabend has to tell us his Britannica name.
Yeah,
his
well, I was gonna say,
nomenclature for.
somebody's saying in chat right now that they're bringing up the fact that some guy paid me a bunch of money to play Doki Doki Literature Club on stream. I'm not rolling that out. I just don't have the fucking time. All right, I really don't have the time. Why not?
Nah, I do recommend Kimito Kanojo to Kanojo to no Koi if you guys are into that sort of thing.
Does it have a
Very good.
translation in English?
Kimito Kanjuke
Yes, it
Suzuki Mazda
Yes.
2.
What's the translation in
Awakening.
English, please?
The translation in English, it's a game from Nitro Plus, basically. There's no translation in English, but there is a translation in the game.
You got to play the game to find out. There you go.
All right. So yeah, people are saying play. No, people are arguing whether Doki Doki whatever is a fucking dead meme or not.
I didn't know it was a meme.
It's already dead. It's dead. It's dead.
Whatever. If people are gonna pay me hundreds of dollars to fucking play it, I'll play it. I don't care.
I'll play a dead meme for $100.
Yeah,
You heard it here.
Exactly, bro.
I'll play.
I'm not gonna complain.
For $100. Fuck yes, I will. Play that shit all day.
Let me head on over to the Twitter to see if there's anything.
You have to translate it into Hanzo.
I've had people. I mentioned this in the last stream. Is that I've had a bunch of people. Oh my god, the arguments for the alt-right are still going. Okay, there's nothing going on at Twitter.
Jesus.
The only thing is I brought up because somebody brought up that Citrus, which is a Yuri anime that just came out based on a manga. They were saying they're talking about getting cuckolded and whether I would be into being cuckolded or not. And I said that the only kind of cuckoldry that I'm actually into potentially is I think it's called Nito Rare, which is basically two girls that enter into the two girls that enter into a lesbian relationship and cuck their boyfriends.
But you would be the
No, I wouldn't.
Wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't say that. I never said that I would be into it specifically.
You
that
enjoy
I'm
it
the boyfriend.
you as an innocent bystander.
Yeah,
you
as
enjoy
a third-party observer, I would enjoy
all right.
watching that. Yes, I wouldn't. I want personally to actually be cucked. I wouldn't be into that because I'm actually a fairly jealous person, so I wouldn't be into it. So,
By the way, Louis, do you follow J-List?
Yeah, of course.
You should have noticed that meme.
What meme?
I said it.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Well, and Rags, since you're gay, are you attracted to traps? Well, I'm technically bisexual.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that this morning.
It depends on the trap, honestly. Some I could go for, absolutely, but some I don't like them too feminine. I think when it comes to my I don't like my men really all that feminine.
I think that people
definite line.
I think people have a wrong assumption that traps, they assume traps to be gay. I don't think that has been demonstrated well enough yet.
I think if you're a man,
the thing about that is
attracting.
There's so many perspectives you can see it. One side you can see it as gay, one side it's not gay. It depends on where you see it.
It's a man trying to sexually attract other men to have sex with them.
Well, I'm specifically saying. Well, the question is when it comes to the statement traps are gay. Is the question if the traps themselves are gay? That I would think you would say yes.
Yes, the traps themselves are gay. The other one, you are not gay by being attracted.
Felix would disagree.
You are. You are
Well, Felix is a fag. Fuck him.
They could be wrong. Because obviously, if you are attracted to someone and you think that they're female, you're straight. If you find out that they are male, or when you see the dick and you keep going, then you are doing something that
what
you
if
know
you're
is
already
homosexual.
going and then you see the dick? Is
Well, it depends on
finishing gay?
it depends what you do after that.
Well, what if
Now,
you finish?
well, here, look,
Is
let's
that
do this
objectively
thing.
gay if you finish?
No, well, no, it isn't. Now explain. I'll explain. It isn't. Now, I wouldn't exactly apply. This might be its own stream here, but I will explain this to you. So, if you are having sex with a trap and for some weird reason you don't know that there's a dick going on down there, right? If you see the dick and finish, it might just because you've reached that point of no return already. However, let's look at it from this perspective. What if you were forced to have sex with a man and you were straight? You're forced to have sex with him. Like if you didn't come, they would kill your family or some shit like that, right? You could come inside of him. I wouldn't make you gay because you're not sexually attracted to them. But your dick, I mean, your dick can get, for instance, you could be aroused by something and for just no reason, just out of the blue. Your dick knows what's up, right? Like if you were being raped, for instance, your dick would get hard. That doesn't mean that you're attracted to it. That doesn't mean that you want it. For instance.
Yeah, that's true. So I think objectively we can say that traps are not gay.
It's all about what you are attracted to and what you will go for. You know, like you could I'm attracted to women, but not all women. Like just because I wouldn't have sex with an ugly bitch doesn't mean I'm gay, right? In the same way, just because as we've settled, the trap is probably gay. It's almost assured if it's a guy who is trying to sexually attract and seduce and have sex with men, that's gay. That's gay. All right. Mm-hmm. Now it's all about the perception of the person who's being
the one receiving is gay. The one that's giving is not necessarily gay or potentially not gay.
I mean, if you were forced to have sex with a man and be on bottom, or else like they'd kill your family, something like that, some strange, bizarre thing. You could be objectively.
Well, I'm pretty sure this is all voluntary. I don't think we're talking about rape.
Yeah, but assuming this is all voluntary, I don't know about the whole curiosity thing, but something gets you to that point, right? Something leads you to the point. If you see the dick and you keep going, it doesn't bother you enough to stop. So maybe can you be neutral on it?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe it's like, I don't know.
People need to weigh in on this. I think everybody does. This is the question that needs to be asked to the president.
All right.
They asked him the other day if he's a feminist. They have to ask him, Mr. President, Donald Trump, are traps gay? I expect to hear that question asked by the press.
But what if?
Yes, please.
That's strange because you can. What if? Is it possible to be attracted specifically to the person and not because they're a guy? It's just can you have a sexual attraction to a personality?
I don't want to get into that. I reject that. I don't like that fucking social constructivist shit.
I don't know.
You can take that. I don't want to hear pansexual garbage. I fucking
is that what pansexuality is? Because I don't know. I've heard it, but I don't. Because for me,
that is pansexuality.
So it's being attracted to personalities.
Yes.
No, pansexuality is attracted to everything.
But that's bisexual.
Yes, correct.
No. Not just the two genders. I mean, literally anything. Objects, specific things.
That's not pansexual.
Really?
That's
what I heard.
What would that be? That would be
incorrect.
What would that be?
I don't know.
We need an expert. YouTube scientists. We need you. We need YouTube sex scientists.
Demisexual. That's
demisexual.
Demisexual.
What's demisexual?
Nice. Yeah. Okay, so demisexual is when you can be attracted to fucking anything, such as a Ferris wheel. And pansexual is attracted to personalities.
Sexually attracted to personalities.
Yeah, pan is all genders. So we have people.
Okay, because everyone's attracted to personality.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, the thing is with pansexuality is that I reject that. I reject pansexuality. I think
because it seems to me that if pansexuality is sexual attraction to personalities, that means you're bisexual and you're just not caught up on what's between their legs.
Yes. So I don't. It's basically assuming the idea of gender neutrality. when it comes
So
to.
let's see. Pansex. Someone in chat, Tommy Wiseau, of course, says pansexual means you're attracted to men, women, and transsexuals.
Yes. Yeah. Or gender neutral,
Alright.
whatever.
That can work, I think, because if you are transsexual, even though there's only two genders and biologically,
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to summarize.
You can be in the middle of a transition where you have like maybe multiple sets, or where you're at a certain point where your physical appearance can denote a certain sexual attraction towards you. So on a physical level, I assume you could have pansexuals if you're attracted to transgendered. Because you could be straight, right? And you're attracted to women and female. You like boobs and vaginas. But if you see a boob and a vagina on what is clearly a man, then you are not attracted to that.
That's getting into some esoteric sort of areas, but
This is serious shit. We gotta know.
Pickle Rick says
Then
that
someone else is saying that's not what pansexuality is. We need an answer.
Pansexual is what bisexual girls who would call them is what bisexual girls would call themselves when they want to be edgy. That is correct. That is the correct definition of pansexual.
Pansexuality is being so much of a degenerate that the two sexes aren't enough for you. Excellent, Millennium Zero.
I think that's the correct, because the thing is that pansexuality was actually a big thing when I was still in college. That was a big thing. I remember that people were saying that a lot. Then it went away.
Only on the I could see the validity of pansexuality only on the premise that sexual attraction to transgender individuals based on their body parts and their gender, what they look like in terms of gender, can be skewed now. Does that make any sense? Did the words that came out of my mouth make any of the sense?
Yeah, so I have a follow-up by Andrew M., who says that pansexuality is not real, and I think that I can agree with that. I think that everything based in biology when it comes to, gay, straight, bisexual, I think that that's where the science is, and I think that that's where the credibility is, and I think that's as far as it needs to go, because social constructivism...
Yeah, I absolutely agree that this is not important in any slightest way. This is basically us wasting time at midnight. So
no, but my point is, though, that with social constructivism, which is what this is based on, that is taken very seriously still.
I mean, we also can't get, and this is all operating under the assumption that one of the versions of pansexuality is what it actually is, what we think it is. So what is omnisexual? What is that supposed to be?
There's I don't want to go down this road. There's a million of them. Stale. Just moving on.
What is?
So,
move on.
Is there anything else that we want to move on to? Because I think we're kind of winding this down, and we're bleeding viewers. So let's
bleeding.
Yeah, let's name something else, or I'm going to turn this to chat, and then that's where we're going to maybe take some questions if you guys want to stick around, and then we will wind it up. Or wind it down, whatever.
We do technically need a term for people who are attracted to dogs and shit. Yeah, but that's zoophilia. No, zoophilia is the act. Zoophile. Somebody who's attracted to animals. Zoophilia is the act.
Oh,
right. But what's the difference between zoophilia and bestiality? I don't know. Someone
this is
tell
not
me.
an encyclopedia.
I don't know.
Google it, bro. All right, I'm turning this over to chat. I'm not hearing anything from either one of you, so I'm going to turn this over to chat then. So, chat, if you have any pertinent questions for either one of us three, they're still sitting here. Let's hear it. This is your
Can
time.
cat go consent?
Time, chat. Time for the chat to shine.
Louis.
Yeah.
Oh, what about those dick girls? If you're attracted to those, are you pansexual?
No, because it would just be attracted to a trans person. It's not pansexual.
But trans people they could be either masculine or feminine.
They're not a third gender.
I know, but I didn't say. I think they can either be masculine or feminine. So
can straight men and straight women.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, because they're trans. Because they deviate from the... Because you've constructed...
So they're trans and they don't pass, is what you're saying.
Yeah, like if they're trans but they don't pass, but
just
they could
ugly.
either pass. But it can go either way because we've created a scenario where people can be in that position where they don't pass, but they have changed their bodies enough to where they could go the other way too.
I'm not exactly following you.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
I'm getting corrected that Nito Rare is actually just general cuckoldry, and then
It is nitorare. You say nitorare.
I'm being told that I'm being misguided in that.
Nitorare.
Yeah, it's cuck in general. It's cuckoldry in general.
All right.
A big cuck.
Have you been drinking?
No, actually, I haven't. I'm as sober as the
sober?
day I was
That's
born.
a bad sign then.
It's 11:11, and I'm look at my fucking icon. How seriously do you think this is?
A dog on a rocket.
I'm on my.
Oh,
big
by the way,
red-
Rex, how about how's your Twitter?
I am in the process of more appeals, so I'm gonna keep appealing, and eventually I might stop. But I've actually got as you see on Discord, I have the soft launch of my server up to get the roles down and the permissions all set up. So when that's good, I'm telling people to try and break it and figure out what's going on and help me set everything up and get suggestions. But it's been going really good, and I think it's about ready to kind of make it big. And I'll just basically use that instead. I'll probably get better retention too, honestly.
Well, that's good.
But who knows?
Did you
I'll
have
try.
like any alt accounts or something?
I will make one. It'll just be for following though, because I'll just use all the time. It's because Twitter was honestly becoming a distraction for me. I regret that in terms of like my audience and stuff. You know, it's more for them than it is for me, because it's a good way to keep in touch with people. That's why the Discord is going to be up as a way to do that. But I'm kind of in a break mode at the moment. I got to sort some stuff out, but it is my intention to go full time with this. So basically, based on my finances and the money that I was making, I'm at a point where if I make enough content, then I'll be able, I'll be viable to do this full time. So I'm kind of in that transitional sort of thing, which is why there hasn't been any videos coming out.
I'm sure your audience will get past it, and that's good to hear that you're trying to make the transition over to being full time, because that's
we're still talking about transitions.
Yeah, it's a big hurdle to make based on what I know. I would definitely make sure that you got things sorted out and are stable enough, and make sure you diversify your income in terms of where you're getting it from.
Yeah, I will. I think I'll be okay, and if not worst comes to worst, then I'll just get another part-time job.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna bitch and whine about I can't get a job. I will go and I will just go get a job. I've got skills, a particular set of skills that I have acquired.
All right. So you guys have anything else you want to mention before we wrap it up?
Guys, you read any good books lately?
I have read, actually. I bought Jordan Peterson's book the other day, so I'm gonna start reading that. I also bought a I think it's Trial of Henry Kissinger by Christopher Hitchens. Bought that. Still have yet to read it. So other than that, not really.
Yes, of course. I see.
Oh, by the way, Louis, have you seen that time where Anita visits BioWare?
Yeah, I talked about it in my last stream, which is why I didn't mention it here. But it's fine. Yeah, I mean, I already ranted about it enough in that one, where it's just, obviously they haven't learned anything, and they're going to hopefully close by not this year, because I won't be able to hold true to my prediction, but my estimation now is by the end of 2019, somewhere between now and the end of 2019, they're going to be done. Depends when they actually release the Anthem, yeah, because I would guess that the next Dragon Age game that they're allegedly working on, that is not going to see the light of day.
Rep. I didn't even play Inquisition.
It's shit. Don't.
Yeah, I'm not really interested because I adored Origins. It'll always have a place in my heart.
Yeah.
And I played 2, and it was like.
Yeah, I'm sure that like I could actually argue some of the positive qualities of 2, but
it's
overall,
not bad. It's not bad. It's just
no.
it's
I would
just
say it's a bad game.
I don't think it's bad game. I think the problem is that it has Dragon Age on the front and it follows Origins, and it's supposed to be a sequel.
Right.
But it's like this isn't a bad game. It's just is this Dragon Age? What is this?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a functional game that has story and characters, but it's like in every way it's a step down from its predecessor. So why is what?
Yeah. Inquisition I can describe as basically what Inquisition is what an MMORPG player thinks is a good RPG. Because it's nothing more than fucking grind. In Andromeda, I don't want to spoil it, but I guess I can.
For all of you guys really concerned about Mass Effect Andromeda's story, please skip to this part
it's not a spoiler.
of the stream. We will have in post-production a number that you'll be watching right now and a link in the description. Click on that number and it'll skip this section of the discussion. What were you going to say?
I'm currently replaying Mass Effect Andromeda, and I just got to the Krogan homeworld, or not the homeworld, but the Krogan world, where it has a female command or female like ruler, and she has a lisp.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
Oh my god, dude!
Yeah.
I basically I got to the part where they introduce her, and I just like the thing is that she looks like, because the thing is with Krogan, it's very hard to tell a male from a female, and it was
racist.
The female, there was only one female in Mass Effect 2. Or Mass Effect 3, maybe. I can't remember.
It's supposed to be like a big deal story.
Yes. And all of a sudden in Mass Effect Andromeda, there's female Krogan fucking everywhere. And they're very hard to distinguish. Yes, they're very hard to distinguish between males. And when you're introduced to her, to somebody who's not very familiar with Mass Effect, they wouldn't see the difference. So it looks like it's a dude.
Well, even if you are familiar with Mass Effect, you don't get to see the Krogan in Mass Effect 3. She's like always got that hijab on.
Yeah, exactly. She has the hijab on, so you don't see like the frontal plate or whatever. But it's just amazing. Like out of all, like it's supposed to be someone you're supposed to take very seriously, and it's a Krogan with a lisp.
And what's so interesting though is just hearing that, because I only played like an hour and 15 minutes of that game, and I was like, I'm gonna go take a poop. But with that is like and even in Mass Effect 2, they do a lot of references to them. It's obviously very important, but the idea that that just seems out of place to have the leader be female. And based on what we know of the Krogans,
if you know anything about the Krogan lore, it makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense. They use their females basically like Muslims, where they take them for breeding and then shove them away somewhere to protect them.
I know that was because they would stick together, but I think that was because of the genophage, and that's just like a survival thing.
Yes.
So
it's
after
also
that
a power
happens, thing. Yeah, because if they become, it's like cattle to Swahili. It's like it's a almost basically the exact same concept, in fact. But after the genophage, I mean, they would still be extremely valuable because because they're still, you need
especially
them.
in a new universe where you even have more finite numbers. So but again, question to you, Rex, why did they change that? There's one answer.
Look, there's a lot of people who identify as female Krogans, and they want to see themselves represented in Mass Effect Andromeda. I'm trans Krogan, in fact. So
you're half right.
I need to see myself represented within a far futuristic space alien civilization, or else I can't connect with the game or the lore.
Yes, it's partially right. The correct answer was diversity and ideology. That's the real answer. Fuck the lore, ideology, because that's always the answer.
Fuck the lore. We got porgs.
Yeah, exactly. Mass Effect Andromeda is a hell of a lot like Inquisition. And the reason why that is because so much of it is, wow, look at this pretty landscape that I am spending hours doing tedious quests in.
I mean, it looked good. and it kept my interest for about 10 seconds when I looked at it the first time, and then I was like, okay, everything I'm doing is boring, and I have no connection with the characters or the world or the situation, but it looks pretty, I guess. So,
Yeah.
good job.
The only redeeming character in Mass Effect Andromeda that I do like is Drac, who's the Krogan, like the very old Krogan that's on your ship. He's one of the very few redeeming characters, in my opinion. Most of the others are.
I bet he's a white Krogan too.
No. No.
Can I call him Daddy?
Good joke, though. Good joke.
All I want is a Krogan Daddy. Is all I want.
Okay.
That's all I want. That's all I want. I'm a very simple man.
Fem Krogans. This is by the last.
Very
Go
simple
Gettr.
needs.
Fem Krogans with a lisp need more representation. Well, then Mass Effect Andromeda is for you, because I haven't even gotten to the crazy part where she like starts to fist fight. I saw there was some stream or something did like right after the game came out where they got to that scene and everyone started hysterically cracking up. And oh man, fucking PewDiePie put that in his video making fun of the game. Oh man, I think PewDiePie did so much damage to the reputation of that game that I'm going to, and this is the truth. I haven't said this before, but when Anthem comes out, I'm going to work my connection.
Oh shit, Anthem is a thing. I forgot that Anthem even existed. Holy shit.
Yeah, dude, there's an article I did on my last stream, and they self-admit this, that they're betting everything on that game. So I have all the incentive in the world to try to work my connections to get a hold of Felix and to have him shit on Anthem, just as he did with Mass Effect Andromeda. I'm going to try to do it because I want to see BioWare fail. I have a fucking vested interest. Go watch that previous stream where I start screaming. I have a vested interest in watching that company fail. And so I'm going to work the connections I have to make that happen, because fuck BioWare.
Anthem, I mean, I don't, oh man, I don't know. BioWare is going to have to, nothing about it. Like, I forgot it even existed.
No, dude, people are going to think like, oh man, just let it come out and it'll be a failure. Don't worry, Louis, blah, blah, blah. No, man, I'm not sleeping on this one. I want that game to fail. I want it to fail, because if that's the case, if this is everything, they have all their eggs in one basket, Jesus Christ. Just,
but what if it's a really good game and they learn their lesson?
I don't care. I don't care at this point. I don't care if it's the best game ever made. I don't care.
What if this is the redemption story? What if they learn from their mistakes of Mass Effect?
By inviting Anita Sarkeesian to come in and go and comment on it for them. That's how they've learned their lesson.
On Anthem?
Yes, that's why she was there. Or no, or do you believe that she was just there for a tour?
Oh, I didn't even know she was there.
Yeah, they flew her out there to Edmonton to visit them. Supposedly for a tour, but it is to consult on Anthem. I'm convinced.
Yeah.
I still don't want the game to fail.
I want it to fail.
I want it to be a good game that millions buy and enjoy, and it has a great plot with good characters and no microtransactions and worthwhile expansions and DLC, and it is full of content and it's innovative and pretty, and it has a Krogan Daddy in it.
D plus attempt to troll me. D plus.
No, I'm serious. Even up to the Krogan Daddy, I'm serious. I'm not gonna hedge my bets on it though. I want it to be a good game.
Okay.
I want it to be a good game that gamers buy and enjoy and feel like they have been that their lessons have been learned, and that they're making a good quality product.
Do you really think that a team full of diversity hires is going to do that? Do you think they have the talent to actually make that game?
No, I don't. But I hope it is. But I don't think they will. No. If it turns out to be a good game, I will probably be shocked. But I want it to be a good game.
What I want this game to be, and what I want BioWare to be, is basically like a head on a pike, where everyone has to look at it, and it's what it's going to have a sign written underneath it is diversity.
No, I want Anthem to be the apology to gamers.
It's never fucking coming. It's never coming.
Probably not. You're probably right. It'll probably be just generic, floaty garbage with one particular mechanic that's overhyped and overplayed. But I hope it's good. but if I was a gambling doggo, I would not exactly bet my lunch.
What's required in this industry is more heads on pikes. We need more companies like BioWare.
No, we need that too.
Because of all the companies in this industry that have invested heavily in the idea of diversity being the strength of gaming, there is no greater example than BioWare. And so that is why I, at this point, want it to fail as soon as possible. Because when it does...
Wait. If Anthem becomes successful and Anita was in BioWare, then that means that other game developers would probably go, "Oh, Anita was in BioWare."
It depends on the game, because wasn't she involved with Mass Effect or Mirror's Edge 2 or whatever?
Yes.
That game didn't do so hot, did it?
No.
So I don't think it's her. I don't think it's.
I don't think it's her either. But my point is that, like, I don't think
No,
she's
people
coming
can
into
interpret it as her.
My whole point is the reason why she's there. The whole fucking reason why she is there is to virtue signal, and that's why the company flew her there, is to virtue signal. This is nothing more than a clique of people in the industry saying to all of us, "Fuck you, now buy our game. Fuck you, buy the goddamn game."
I think that they say a lot more by the game itself than by flying Anita, because she's so irrelevant that I don't even fucking care. If the game is everything, if the game takes every criticism about Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda, I'm not saying I think it will. I'm not saying it will be good, but I say if it does that, then I don't want the game to fail if it's a legitimately good game that seems as if it's made with passion.
I don't care. Let's say, it's a good game. I don't care. I want the company to fail. I want this to be it. Because you have to fucking pay a price for the shit that you do. Somebody has to fucking pay a price. Okay? How many fucking... No. How many years are we going to see this industry shit on this community? Going to shit on their customers?
Well, that's the point. That's the point I'm trying to make.
No. You are moving past the point of you are excusing the behavior of these companies that have been gutting us and gouging us and shitting on us for
that's why
decade.
That's why I didn't buy Inquisition and stuff like that.
Good. But my point is that we need less people passively buying these games, and we need these companies to go down. And if they change, then they need to do so in a very public way. But there are companies and there are developers that will not change.
That's what we'll find out with Anthem. Whether or not they will. That is what we're going to see. If they're putting everything on this, that will be the tell.
So Andromeda wasn't the sign for you. Inquisition wasn't the sign for you. Mass Effect 3 wasn't the sign for you.
No, Mass Effect. No, Andromeda wasn't good. I didn't care about Dragon Age 3. I didn't buy it. But I don't think that just because those games were bad, that the company is doomed. Am I optimistic?
No, it's not doomed, because EA has been bailing them out for fucking years.
Okay, in Anthem is what I will judge each game as it comes out. All right? If the game is good, then good.
Okay. I guess if that's acceptable,
it is. If the game is
good,
good,
I don't see. It's like, okay, would you say the same thing for Konami? Or another name me a game company you heavily dislike. A developer, a publisher. Name me one.
Konami.
Okay, Konami's coming out with a game filled with microtransactions and everything else, developed by a mediocre team. Are you going to just take that at face value and say nothing about any of the things they've done in the past?
I'm not going to support the
it's a game that comes out, I'm going to give it the fair shot it deserves.
Yeah, every game should be given a fair shot. Yeah, absolutely. Every game that comes out, yeah. It should be reviewed, and it should be treated as a game that comes out.
I'm speaking to you.
Well,
I'm not saying generally. I'm saying to you.
To me, if a game is good, then good for gamers for having a good game. I mean, isn't that what we want? We want good games, right? So if a game is good, then good.
I do think you're deflecting on this.
No, I'm really not. The idea at the end of the day is that gamers get good games that are worth the money, and they don't get, screwed over on these games. So if they get a good game that doesn't screw them over, that's good. And if there are bad games, then you shouldn't support them. If there are good games, you should support those.
The question is that it would only the idea of the good or the bad. It would only
should we
be
buy
determined.
Battlefront 3? Why would you buy Battlefront 3? If Battlefront 3 is a thing that doesn't exist, how could I possibly tell you whether or not to buy it, Melisma?
Well, let's say that it's coming out with a direct sequel.
If it's a good sequel, then
Well,
yeah.
how the fuck do you know?
Because you wait.
trust?
I'm not saying to pre-order it. I'm saying that if
Right,
the
I get that, but I'm just saying that it's going into something, assuming the best intentions. Where
it doesn't even matter what your intentions, if you assume good or bad intentions. That doesn't even matter. In fact, it's irrelevant. If the game is good and it's fair and it's good for gamers, then buy the game. If the game is bad and it rips people off, then don't buy the game.
I think that it's just, even in the case, okay, because you don't sound very passionate about the issue of BioWare, but with the issue of BioWare, I don't really know how much I want to really get into
BioWare's
this,
not a person.
No, BioWare's
a company and it's a thing.
Right.
Right.
What I'm saying is there anything a company could do to you where you would want to see it fail, where it wouldn't matter whether they're actually going to produce something good or not? Would it matter? Like, let's say, for example, that you went to a supermarket, you went to Walmart. I mean,
like if they chain people to the walls and gas Jews, yeah. I mean, obviously, you can eventually get to that point. But there's a reason why I do support some games and I don't support others.
I guess. I mean, I don't know what to say here. I just think that there are companies in this industry that deserve to go under. Because no longer exist.
Let's put it this way. What if Anthem comes out and they take every criticism that they've ever had with story and characters and diversity and they get rid of all that crap and they go back to their roots and make one of those amazing games, but it fails? What message does that send? That it doesn't matter?
No, it sends the message that it's too late, too little too late. You had years to do this, and you continue to fuck with people all along the way until you reach this point where you released a good game and it's a dud. When you had all the bank in the world coming out of Mass Effect 2.
Don't buy the dud. Don't buy the duds. Buy the good ones. Encourage them to make the good ones. Don't encourage them to make the duds. Because if they make a great game and you don't buy it...
It's not about encouraging them to make the duds. I have no control what they do with the game. I'm not on the development team. So I don't understand what you mean by don't encourage them to make the duds. How is that possible?
By not supporting the bad games.
No.
When people don't buy things, it discourages people from making them.
So what you're saying is don't buy the bad games that would then encourage them to make the duds?
No, don't buy bad games. If the game is bad, don't buy it. Right?
Correct.
Okay. Don't buy bad games. Buy good games.
Man, I should have talked to you before. You would have saved me a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean there's really no secret to it. I mean, if the game is good, buy it. If the game is bad,
don't buy it.
If it's not good, don't buy it. I mean, there's no hidden trick here.
By the way, Rex.
Yes.
Also, somebody asked on the chat if a game developer actually got found out to actually gas some Jews, and they made a really damn good game, would you buy it?
No, as I said before, that event, that would be, I mean, that's like murder and shit. You know, it's going a little bit. That's obviously an extreme example. Remember Mass Effect 3? Yes, I do. Played it thrice. Jesus, Rags, you thick skulled or something? No, but I don't think because they make some shit games that they can't possibly ever make good games.
I think that I think based on their hiring practices, they are incapable of making good games. And I bet every penny in my bank account on it.
If I was to make a bet, I would bet that as well. But I'm not going to judge a product before it's out. At least not to the point where I will preemptively make a decision not to buy it. If it's a good,
I am going to do that with Anthem.
Well,
unless
okay.
someone in this chat
It's your money.
pays me to buy the game, I'm not buying that fucking game.
I mean, that's
because-
fine. They have to earn my money. The games don't earn my money by default, right? Is like I don't buy ideas. You know, ideas can interest me, of course, but I don't just buy into the idea of a game. Obviously, you get burned too much if you do that. So if a game comes out and it's good, I will look at the reviews. I'll look at the gameplay. If it's good, I will buy it. But I'm not going to preemptively decide, barring extreme examples, of course, that I will or will not buy a game. Barring extreme examples, of course. There are exceptions to every rule, but that's a general rule that I would suggest. Well, that's me. You do what you want, but it's always been my thing. Buy good games, don't buy bad games.
I think that in the Western industry, there needs to be a new stance taken that eventually, because we have no means by which to actively do anything in terms of so-called activism outside of just deciding with our wallets what we buy. Although my issue is that even if a game is a financial failure, as Andromeda was, it doesn't matter. EA, as a publisher, steps in and bails them out anyways, and they get supposedly 2 more games, despite the fact that the Inquisition underperformed and Andromeda was a disaster. So it doesn't matter even if you don't buy the game, that won't guarantee.
Those were the results of people not buying bad games and buying good games instead.
Right. And is every game in the same way featured on channels with 60 million subscribers mocking it, showcasing the worst features of the game? And that's actually not a fair example of the game. It's not. It's very selective, but it's featured the most cringy moments of it for the intentions of comedy. But my point of this is that, like, you say buy the good games and not the bad games. How the fuck do you know, bro?
Only you can answer that.
Yeah, exactly. I've played games based off. I told you earlier before we got onto this that I've had every single one of my friends always recommend Battlefield to me. Every single one has recommended me every single Battlefield game.
All right, because the people that you asked recommend the game because they like it. I mean, ultimately, you're going to have to make the decision on who you listen to and who you trust and what you like and don't like. I mean, if Battlefield's continually...
But the answer is you don't know until you have it.
Yes,
you don't know.
Yes, you won't know 100%. Yes,
so
but by reading reviews and watching Let's Plays, obviously you can make an informed buying decision.
Fair enough.
I mean, obviously you can't. Obviously, you don't know until you're actually playing it.
I'm gonna go back to what I was saying before because I didn't finish the point I was trying to make. Was that in relation to BioWare and what my stance is on this is that at some point companies cross a line for people, and I think
listen, this is dumb in the chat. This whole thing. How the fuck do I know if a game is good or not if the press is in bed with publishers? Why do you listen to bad press? Why do you listen to people who take
in your defense? You're speaking of
yeah. I'm not saying buy next Call of Duty because IGN gave it a 9.6 out of 10.
Right. I think that's
obviously
fair to say, and I think that's a misinterpretation of what you're saying. Yeah, there's obviously more than just the fucking game journals who nobody trusts.
Yeah, we all have the streamers and the reviewers that we trust to look at things analytically and compare it to predecessors and things like that. You have the people you trust. I have the people that I trust. We all have our go-to guys that steer us towards the right decision most of the time. Obviously, I mean them. I don't mean buy Call of Duty because IGN.
Correct. All right. So, but as I was saying, the stance that I'm taking on this is the idea that for people, and I think that this should be something that is generally accepted. This is something that more people should adopt. That once a company crosses a particular line, that is the line, that's past the point of no return. That they must be made an example of. That past that point, there is no redemption. And I do believe that BioWare is number one of an example of that, of a company that has done everything in its power to shit on its fans, betray its fans, to use completely ridiculous business practices for years and years and years, abusive business practices that even in what you say Rags, you don't see on the surface, that you don't know until you own the product, until it's got, you could go into it a week in thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to wait a week, see what I see, then I'm going to get it. But then you could get it and realize a week later than that you just bought a fucking disaster because of all the business practices that they've lied to you about.
Yeah,
One of the biggest things.
I get it. I get it. I really do. I honestly do. I get it. And that's a call each individual has to make on their own. For me, if a company goes back on it, if they want to make for me, I like I said, I understand. But for me, like especially in Anthem's case specifically, if BioWare, I don't think they're past a point of no return. Not for me. For you, if they are, then do what you will. For me, they're not.
Yeah, I know somebody that actually waits 6 months to buy any of their games. Like that's how they play games, and that's probably a good idea to do in terms of waiting for everything to be ironed out and to see if whether something's total shit or whatever. But like I said, I think
usually aren't patched anyway. They're not very easily stable.
My point in this is that if you look at the industry as a whole, whether it's even Eastern or Western and Eastern, if you include them both, you can see companies that are not going out of their way.
People are saying I'm sitting on the fence. I'm really not. I don't see how I'm sitting on the fence.
I think that you are offering a level of nuance to what I'm saying that we ultimately disagree on.
I mean, I disagree with BioWare being past the point of no return. I mean, I think they are capable. I think they're absolutely capable of it.
I think you're wrong.
I don't think they're going to.
I think you're wrong.
Of it, and we will see that with Anthem, whether or not they are.
I think it's like looking to Enron to make Enron is going to make its redemption, boys. It's on its way back. It's like, no, I don't think so. I think that this is all going
comparing them to Enron is not a fair.
Yes, it is a fair estimation because it's based on fraud. And that's what BioWare is. It is a company that has been pretending to be talented and is devoid of talent.
Oh, it's fraud in a less than legal sense.
Yeah, it's actually legal in their sense, but it's duplicitous in that they're advertising it as something that it isn't, which they consistently have done. But in any case, it's
if Anthem is good, and if they show through Anthem that they learn their lesson, I will buy it. And then if the next game comes out and they go back to their old ways, I won't buy it. So there you go.
Fair enough.
I'm a lot less idealistic in that sense. Maybe because I've been dealing with BioWare so much to the point where if their games are good or if their games are bad, I just don't really care anymore. I just put my hands up. Okay, their game's good.
If Devil May Cry 3 happened after Devil May Cry 2, anything can happen.
Like I said, I passionately hate them.
Yeah, there hasn't been a company. I can't recall a company that I really passionately hate. If I come to think of it, there hasn't been.
I'll never fucking forgive them for what happened after Mass Effect 3 when they used the press to shit on fans. They deflected criticism by using the press to shit on fans. I'll never fucking forgive that. And they never made any kind of mea culpa for that either, and that's why I passionately hate them. Because even if they made Anthem a great game, it still doesn't erase the fact of what they did then.
So, someone said, sleeping giant companies deserve a second, third, fourth, and 42nd chance, guys. Don't pick on the poor ideologically driven companies. Rags in a nutshell, basically. No, I'm not saying give them. I'm not. No, I'm just saying if they make a good game, by the good game, don't support them if they make a bad game. Right?
I understand what you're saying.
This is all a completely, extremely subjective line where we put this, that, and the other thing, and who we hold responsible and who's accountable for it. But
it's very easy to make the distinction. It's very easy.
My line is I'm clearly much further than you. Maybe it's because I don't have as much investment with it.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. You don't have a personal grudge.
I clearly don't have a personal grudge against them and Mass Effect. It's just a video game that I play. You know, I like them. They were very good, but I'm not. It's not part of my soul or anything. So that's why Anthem's really good, you know, and it doesn't have silly microtransactions and things, and they come back and they say, all right, then I'll buy it. Yeah.
I guess you. This is one of the things I've said to people before. I think you may have just had to have been there during the time that it happened. Because
it's when it comes to games, Rags is willing to forgive past mistakes if they come up with something good. Yeah, pretty much. Obviously, there'll be examples to every rule. I mean, it's not an exact binary, but yeah, a company can win me back. Yeah, absolutely, a company can win me back. They give me the product that we've been asking for. Yeah, absolutely, they can.
I probably made a mistake a long time ago by not explaining this fully, because I planned to do a video where I laid this out in depth of why I hate BioWare, and I probably regret not making that video.
Yeah, I'm no fan of BioWare. You know?
No, I get it. I'm just trying to justify my position, and I think I'm not doing as well.
No, I get what you're talking about. I would understand why people who loved Star Wars would not want to support Disney because of how bad The Last Jedi was. I understand that, but I don't care enough.
I understand what you're saying. It goes a step beyond that, because I haven't really fully explained this, but after Mass Effect 2, there was a big thing that happened where, do you know what it's called? Where you basically have an oil well, and there's 3 tiers to an oil well, where the top tier is basically where oil spurts from it. And then when you get to the second stage of pumping oil, it's like pump and push, where they inject shit into the crevice or whatever that holds the oil, and it pushes the oil upward. It's called like pump and pull, something like that. They did that with Mass Effect fans for years after Mass Effect 2. Right after Mass Effect 2 came out, they pushed merchandise and everything as hard as they possibly could. And the lithograph, they made a whole industry out of it. And it became really big. And they were selling for thousands of dollars on eBay. Like, it was a huge fucking thing. And they drove all of it. They drove all of that. They made that a whole thing where people are spending thousands of fucking dollars on their games. I thankfully wasn't one of them, but people were doing that. When Mass Effect 3 came out and people were upset, that's when they turned it around and betrayed the fan base that people were so loyal to that they were spending thousands of dollars on. Like, to do that, and it was intentional. It was predatory. They set it all up to be predatory, and they made people fanatics to their game, pushed it as hard as possible, sold as much merchandise as they can get away with, until it peaked with the third game. Lithographs, all that industry died overnight, and the whole thing went tits up. And then it ended all because they told the fans to go fuck themselves. Like, I never did a proper video on it, but there's so much in terms of the reason of why I hate them. And it's because they were insanely duplicitous in terms of how they treated the fans.
Wait, what were they selling after Mass Effect 2? What kind of merchandise?
It was a whole litany. It's like it wasn't just clothing and shit like that. They came out with books, comics, an anime, and one of the things they pushed very hard was limited edition lithographs that they sold for $40 a pop. That would sell out literally within a couple of minutes of them coming out. That's how much demand there was for them. They would go on eBay, which they were aware of, for thousands of dollars. In some cases, thousands of dollars, and people were buying them. It became an entire sub industry that they had created. They created it, and they not just created it, but they increased the flow of lithographs to increase their own flow of money. They did it as long as they possibly could get away with until the third game came out. They pushed out like 8 or 9 lithographs at once. That whole sub industry died immediately. And then right after that happened, and people were going like, this is insane. You were predatory in the way that you were doing this. There's a huge thing on the BioWare forums back when this happened. Then that's when they did the Mass Effect 3 thing, where people were unsatisfied with the ending, and they used journalists as their junkyard dogs to shit on fans, to say that they were whatever, misogynist or whatever the fuck they said. Like, it was so unbelievable that, like I said, it's something I'll never forgive. I'll never forgive the way that they treated the fans, the customers.
Well, I certainly won't shed a tear if Anthem comes out and it's terrible and they make no money and the company goes under. I certainly will not shed a tear.
Yeah,
I would prefer a right proper redemption act. Is what I prefer. It would be best for gamers, I believe, if they redeem themselves. Do I think they will? No, I don't. I don't think they will. But I want them to.
Wait, Louis, they were selling like lithographs, where you said?
Yeah, lithographs, yeah.
Lithographs. What I'm still kind of confused in which part of selling lithographs that was wrong about it. Was it the limited
way that
edition?
it was structured is that they were limited edition, meaning there was a finite number of lithographs that would come out. So what they would do is that they would create bursts of lithographs where there would only be a few hundred of them, knowing that it would increase demand because they would become increasingly rare the less you released of them. On occasion, they would release some that were of higher volume, meaning there was more for the sale. But once they were gone, that was it. They were limited edition. And they would be put on eBay and sold for typically hundreds of dollars immediately after sale. They were not only aware of that, they encouraged it, meaning people were basically going on eBay and spending hundreds of dollars on a piece of paper.
Basically, don't be someone who spends hundreds of dollars on a piece of paper, unless it's like $100 bills.
My point is that they were aware of that. There was a huge thread on BioWare forums about this, and they actively encouraged it. This is part of the community they encouraged because it drove fanatic adherence to Mass Effect. People loved Mass Effect, and it drove them to continue to not like. It got so bad that there was a release of one. I think it was like Miranda. It was a lithograph of Miranda from Mass Effect 2. It sold out in literally 2 minutes. It was that or one other. I think it might have been Tally. It sold out in 2 minutes. 500 fucking lithographs in 2 minutes. And it was so out of control. And to think what it required was for them to come in and actually say that this was getting out of hand. But instead they did the exact opposite and profited off of it.
Well, but wouldn't the person selling it profit off of it?
Yes, they were doing that.
But they got the $40, and then the person selling it for all the high thing, they were the real winners.
Yes, absolutely. But the thing is that if you see that to be a problem where people are spending this much money,
I mean, is it a problem? Yes. I mean, if someone's really, really excited about something and they want to spend $1,000 on a lithograph, I mean, it's their call. I don't think it's smart necessarily, but to them, I mean, they think that's value, then more power to them, I suppose.
It would be fine if they had actually realized that this was becoming something that was it was getting out of control, and it really was. It really was getting out of control. But instead of trying to mitigate that, intervening to whatever extent, just holding releases, doing whatever, instead they did the exact opposite, encouraged more releases, and they made them limited. Intentionally. Like that was the real driving seller behind these things, is that they were limited. Like I said, it's a big long thing, but
like I wonder how much you can mitigate a fanatic's behavior.
You don't brag about it. You don't encourage it. You don't talk about how fast.
I know. Still, I just wanted just side thought. Someone's paying that much kind of money. That might be a deeper problem than anything game related, though.
No, but that's my point. Is that if it is a deeper problem than the game itself, then you shouldn't be encouraging it. Especially because the thing
would you put BioWare on the same moral level as casinos? I'm really, though. I mean, I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying
no, because we're talking about something that is like you're not going into a casino being a fan of that casino's brand. most people doing that are not fans of a brand of a casino. This is about a byproduct of a product.
I could see it from the instance of you have to be a certain age to enter a casino. So I could see, yeah, okay, I could see how it's worse. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Like I said, maybe like I said, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, I'm clearly not saying it's good. I'm clearly not saying it's a good thing.
But like I said, the real issue that I take with it is that they actively encouraged fanatical behavior, and right after they did that, the whole thing came to a screaming halt with Mass Effect 3. In which case, it wasn't just a bad game. In my opinion, it's a bad game or a mediocre game. It's just the fact that they turned to the press to then deflect criticism. When they did that, I mean,
No,
dude, there's a Facebook group.
Good, no.
There was a Facebook group. I believe
I still don't. I still don't. This is just my first time learning about something, so I don't really know all the details of it. So I'm kind of trying to grasp what's even going on, because I had no idea about this lithograph stuff.
Yeah,
Basically, from what I can gather, basically, BioWare is pumping these things constantly to the point where it creates fanatic behaviors, and instead of actually addressing that.
So I don't get it. So they're making them in limited numbers. So they're making limited like releases of something, basically.
Yes, it's
yeah.
That by itself is fine, because other companies have done that and they sell out and whatever else. It's supposed to be a collectible, you're supposed to keep. But the thing is that it became, because I don't know, like.
So I still don't know what that. I'm not grasping what they did. That's the thing. I seriously don't know what they did.
They realized that there was in essence a market that existed beyond them just selling them to the person. That somebody just said it, artificial scarcity. That's
so they created artificial scarcity to
drum up the demand of these things, because basically they created a product that was a collectible. It became a hobby for a lot of people. Then they encouraged it. Then they not only encouraged it, but they created more of the collectible item, not of the more of the same, but more of different collectibles, so that you had an increasingly larger collection. And
all right.
Like I said, I'm not going to continue on.
I guess I don't
wrap this up.
Yeah, because see, people are comparing it to Beanie Babies. Okay, because artificial scare. Yeah, I get it. It's dumb and a lot of things. I'm just trying to get a grasp on what happened, because if this was Mass Effect 3 stuff, this was pretty much.
No. Mass Effect. It started before the release of Mass Effect 2, and then immediately following.
That's
where it started.
I was really into the industry stuff. This is all news to me. I'll read up on it, because a lot of it just sounds.
I don't think you're gonna find anything. I've not heard one peep since fucking like right after the whole thing went down in Mass Effect 3. That's the first I heard. Like, I don't think anyone's ever talked about the lithograph thing. I don't think anyone ever has. I've never seen anyone comment on it other than me.
Someone's saying it would be comparable to Magic the Gathering increasing the price of their cards to $700 and then not printing any.
I don't know if that's a completely adequate comparison.
I don't really grasp it. But if BioWare is doing something shady, then obviously they shouldn't do it. But I'm just not really grasping.
This was a long time ago. The market that, like I said, the market died after Mass Effect 3. They created several editions of lithographs that completely they couldn't get rid of, because they literally killed the industry. It was like I said, I would have to go. Like, I have them all in a room away. I'd have to dig them out just to try to recollect exactly what happened. But right after the release of Mass Effect 3, they printed a whole shitload at once. That's when it hit its peak. It was like peak oil. Like, they released a shitload of limited editions, a shitload of them, and they expected them all to sell, and they expected to make a shitload of money and keep printing more. And that's when it bottomed out. They couldn't sell them, and people were putting them on eBay for $500, $600, and they weren't even selling out in the store. So it bottomed out right there. And like I said, it was like a micro industry within the community that existed. And I don't know. I considered it to be incredibly predatory towards the end. And when they turned on the fans like they did, I thought that to be like basically just a complete stab in the back. That here you are.
I certainly was not a fan of Mass Effect 3's ending, nor Andromeda as a thing in general. But I still am of the opinion that they can win, that they could win me back. They're not in my good graces by any stretch of the imagination. But Anthem, if it is their final thing, if their backs to the wall here and this is their last chance, then we will see.
I agree that some evil king says in the chat it's not directly immoral, but it's unhealthy, and I would add on that potentially unethical. I would say that's the real issue that I would take with it, because there was a very serious question to the ethics of how they were releasing them and to what degree, and the fact that they knew about this market that was out of control and yet they didn't care, and they went out of their way to encourage it and say that this is part of the community, and they pretended as though they didn't bear any reaction when the whole fucking thing collapsed because they pushed it so goddamn hard it exploded.
Man, I think I gotta blame based on what I hear, I gotta blame the consumers more than them on that. Because
somebody compared it to Szechuan sauce.
Is that a good comparison?
I kind of yes, but kind of no. Like the sentiment behind it, I like the thing. I don't like. I didn't know all that much other than the people showed up at the McDonald's acting stupid, but it became something that was basically seen as like an in-group kind of thing to do, and they heavily encouraged it, and it was incredibly costly because I mean, $40 a pop with $20 shipping, that ain't fucking cheap. And I would have to go through to see how many that I even...
Rags, would you buy the good game if the developer dragged gamers through the mud and treated their consumers poorly? Individual basis. Have to make a call on an individual basis. So that's too broad a question to simply answer with a yes or no. Consumer blaming? Well, sometimes, yeah. Sometimes consumers do stupid things. Sometimes consumers can compel companies to do bad things. Yeah, absolutely. I believe that. Yeah. That's why I say buy good games, don't buy bad games. That's why you get this whole Szechuan sauce thing. If you have a bunch of idiots who go out and buy stuff, then what do you think the natural response of the company is going to do?
All right. Well, I think we'll kill it here because we went longer than I even intended. So any final thoughts from Appabend? Let's go with Appabend first.
No, not really. It's been interesting listening to the stream.
Yeah.
I was about to upload a video here, but it's nice to just listen to. I was by you guys talking, I was just playing games in the background.
I recognize that. Yeah.
Yeah, but nice to hear you guys. So
yeah,
sure. Here, just don't buy stupid shit.
Yeah.
Buy stupid shit.
And I'll just close this by saying that fandom is a stupid thing.
Yes, don't
ever become a fan of a brand or a company.
You can like things, but
yes.
Dear God, there is a line. Ugh.
I think that it's important that if you... I think it's also imperative that if you are a company, that you understand the difference between promoting healthy recognition of your game and desire for your game or your community versus something that you directly profit from that is demonstrably unhealthy for people in it. I just want to make that point because I don't want to really get back into it, but it's the only time that I've ever seen something like that I've been aware of. But yes, in any case, thanks for everyone stopping by. I appreciate those of you that joined me. Thank you to Appabend. Rags, thank you to Undoomed and Jeremy. And am I forgetting anybody else? I don't believe I am.
I think that's about it.
Yeah, thank you for everyone that joined. Thank you for the...
go ahead. By the way, Swordfat Otaku said once that he couldn't get in. You invite him?
I already invited him. He said he couldn't join.
Oh, yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah, he says he wasn't able to make it. But yeah, thank you to those of you that joined. Thank you that stayed by and watched the full thing. We lost about 200 fucking people in the meantime. Thank you for all the super chat donors.
It's late. It's 12.
Yeah, it's 1 in the morning here.
Too, yeah.
So thanks for those of you that joined us for this very, very long stream of questionable quality. But
had its highs and lows, the highs and less than highs.
I'll try to prepare better next time to make this a little bit better. I think that's a little bit of my fault not preparing this adequately enough. But thanks for those that showed up, and hope to see everyone next time. Thank you.
Toodles.